Okay, great. Hey, everyone. We're going to open up the Monday, January 12th, 2026 Swampscott.
It's 12-gauge shuttle. My entree and whip in the order.
Okay.
All right. So we'll open the meeting, and I think the first thing that we have is just approval of the minutes.
Right, so let's see. Maybe the minutes were from, we have them in here, Krista, or are we going to pull them up, or?
Yeah, I will pull them up. They're not in the packet, but I did send them
Okay.
beforehand. Are you all able to see on the screen?
Yeah. I didn't have any. I don't know if anybody else.
Can I tilt this a little bit? Is this tiltable?
Oh, towards us?
You,
You can try.
Yeah.
you can also try to scoot.
Yeah.
It's catching.
A little more, because it's got one big slab of light right. Okay, better.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Just make it a little bit bigger if you could.
It's just the ceiling light is reflecting on it. Oh, much better.
Thanks, Joe. And thank you, Krista. That's much better. Okay. Oh, right. Okay. Oh. Okay. Okay. All right, I got that. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Any comments?
I'm fine with it.
Make a motion to accept the meeting minutes from
Second?
last month.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
Great.
Okay.
Okay. Before we just move into the rest of the meeting, obviously this is a full house tonight, fuller than normal, so we're going to try to, keep folks on a little bit more of a schedule. So I'd ask just if you could, I'll open it up for each petitioner to give an initial presentation, but if you could try to keep that to about 5 minutes, just so that we can then get board comments, public comments, and a, summation at the end, I'd appreciate that. So to start that off, we are hearing application 2520. This is continued from the December 10th public hearing for 55 Puritan Road by Peter SOUHLERIS.
Hi.
Hey.
Are we going to put something up on the screen? Or do you want?
I can do it, or you can share. From your-
Yeah, I can share mine. How do I? I'm looking. Oh, the share button right there.
If you could just introduce we know who
Sorry,
you are.
I'm sorry. Peter SOUHLERIS for 55 Puritan Road in Swampscott. All right. Let's see if that works. Yep. So last time we were here, we talked about a lot of things, and I believe we did a nice job kind of addressing everything we spoke about, and I just want to go through that with everyone right now. This kind of shows a little rendering of the proposed changes at 55 Puritan Road. I know we talked specifically about, can you see my, yeah, you can. So we specifically talked about that front entrance. Originally, it did not have a band going across as it actually does now. Now meaning currently. So currently the building has a nice trim band going around the front of it and around the right and around the left. And we had kind of stopped in the original proposal. The columns almost went all the way up to the band. So it did look a little bizarre. I'd have to agree. So we brought it down to something, I feel the scale is more appropriate. We talked about with Jer, mostly, architecturally. We've played a little bit with like a board and bat on the front and a classic siding to the right. But I've got a couple of versions of that, and I'll show you. I kind of nailed it down to two, which is right here. So one is just traditional siding all the way across. We did add all the dental work in here. That was not in the original renderings. We always planned on keeping the dental work, and it was a little simplistic, obviously, in the proposal, but we put a lot of detail in showing everything. So those are kind of the two options that I'm, toying with. I really haven't decided. I like them both, so I put them in here. I'm open to some feedback with the board and bat, and they're both kind of classic and traditional. But really, the major thing we did was change the way that parking worked. I shouldn't say the parking worked, the way that looked, that garage looked. And then we talked greatly about the roof and access and elevation heights. So I went in, we did update all of that. So we have an elevation line to the top of the roof at 35.9 existing. We're not increasing that. We are looking at, a roof hatch and something to cover up the AC units, being that it's in a flood zone. We're trying to do something nice to cover those up. We're trying to keep it below the existing chimney line that's there. So the chimney line, as you can see, is a little bit taller than what we're proposing. We also talked about the parking and how we were trying to get one compact and 4 regular size cars. We have that cantilever, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I know there's a little delay. So right in there, that line shows that that's cantilevering over, and we talked about, doing something where it's high enough where the front nose of a car can go underneath, so we can get 2 full-size cars. And when I tell you I tried, I tried. We possibly can, but I don't want to mislead the board and say, oh, yeah, we can do it, and then someone pulls up there. The only way to achieve that is to nosedive the driveway and put the water all the way into the house, which is very difficult. I will kind of jump a little bit ahead and say I have the plans of the electric driveway that we talked about for the water. And that, of course, if we implement, which I really would like to do that, and I know it's a larger cost, but it really makes a lot of sense for that water to be pitched off and not go into the house. So real quick while we're here, this this here scenario, and when they first sent it to me, I'm like, what is this? So this scenario says it's a 16 by 8 compact car, and then that 4 by 10 is the walkway. So I plan on having it on the whole thing in the front, so everything drains. And then the next one is a full-size vehicle at 18 by 9, and then what I'm calling a hybrid vehicle because I couldn't get the 18, but I'll show you what we did get. And then the next one is 2 18 and 18 by 9. So all this configuration, if it makes sense, is the electric mat configuration that they designed for us. So it's kind of like in this section here, it's a 6 by 9 by whatever it is, 3 foot wide. So it's a series of mats that you put underneath the asphalt or the pavers, and then you use that. I just want to kind of show that before I get back to the site plan.
And that basically heats the pavement?
It heats it, yeah. I'm using it now in a location. It's amazing. There's a sensor. As soon as it senses snow, it goes on. It takes about, I would say, 20 minutes for the asphalt to heat up, and then it stays you program an additional hour after the snow stops. I can do it I talked to them about using solar power and electricity. So it's a clever system where you'd like to say I want to use all solar power because you don't have to, there's no cost, right, if you're using solar power, and it's green and I love it. But sometimes they said the solar power just doesn't do the job. So they have a transmitter that knows that, and it switches over to AC, DC, whatever the power voltage is, and it kicks right in. So what I wanted to do is every unit, like Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, would have it on their own meter. So it's metered separately. Everyone has it. Everyone has to use it, and it just makes it so easy with removing, snow in that area because it's very tough. It's tough to move around on Puritan in that street. So,
5.
Did I go over 5?
No, I'm saying
Yeah.
just you're good.
Yeah, I'm almost done. The compact car, 8 by 16. The large cars, we have number 3, number 4, number 5. And then the hybrid, we got a little bit above the 16 for a hybrid with a 10-foot wide. That's why I call it a hybrid. We also added the greenery instead of a fence to the left and to the right. I did speak with my neighbor, with Ted, and the neighbor on the other side, and I have some ideas of some shrubbery and so forth to use, and we kind of left it off with we'll mutually agree upon something that's nice, that's not too tall where you can't see backing out and making it a danger. But I like the effect of putting more green on there than not. And then we have a little bit more of the green. I don't know if you can see it on this, on the walkway in between some kind of a paver. So a little bit, I thought it was a nice touch, an architectural nice touch. We really, other than that, it's really the electric heat underneath and the hot top that's going to be primarily what's going on there. I think I got it all. I can pause, obviously. I'll go over the 5 minutes and answer any questions.
Thank you.
All right. And, Jerry, I did look at that building. I did try to do that. I saw that building with the parking underneath and the cross bracing.
Yeah.
And I tried versions of that. I just couldn't make it look as nice. But we did try that.
Any comments from the board?
And I'm an expert, by the way, on car sizes. I can tell you what a compact is. I can tell you what a BMW 3 is, an X3, an Audi 7, an Audi Q. I found that most of them were way under. Even like the compact cars were 12 feet, 13 feet, so you got 16. A standard SUV, and I'll show you real quick. I've got a whole list of them right here. Standard sizes, like a Volvo S60, 15.6 by 6, a BMW X Series. I'll just get right down to like a large SUV, a Chevy Tahoe, 1756. They're all under 18, but a standard like BMW X5 or a Jeep Cherokee, just under 16, 16.9, 15.7. And then the compacts are tiny, 13 and so forth. So I was surprised and kind of happy to see that even if, we had a something smaller, a lot of vehicles fit under that 16. Other than, and even other than the SUVs, the Tahoes, the Yukons, Expeditions, the Escalades, those are over 17.
I think the biggest concern there was that, you know, and we mentioned you using some cobblestone type of thing to.
We have that
outline
in there too, yeah.
to, you know, create a delineation between the driveway and the sidewalk, is that there is no encroaching on the sidewalk.
Yes.
So that's going to be conditioned and something that you'll have to, you know, monitor and just, you know, make sure that whoever parks there is not sticking out on the
Yeah.
sidewalk.
And that's what we're gonna do, similar to that, like with a cobble on the edge, so it clearly defines. I'll put it in leases, I'll put it in whatever it takes, and it'll be on them, and, you know, they'll know. I mean, I could find them and kind of police it myself, just to be a nuisance to them. I just want to get the parking off the street as much as I can.
Okay, and I think, you know, you've tried to do the best you can, getting a little more greenery in the front. I mean, you know, I think there are ways to get, either it's, you know, short trimmed boxwood shrubbery, something that isn't just a patch of grass, but does
Yeah.
kind of, you know, speak as
As a border.
It translates as something green there,
Yeah.
as opposed to, because you do have, you know, you are removing all that, the grass in the front, and it does look pretty stark without anything. So whatever you can do, and you can certainly keep it short. No one's expecting you
right.
to grow 6-foot trees there, but, you know, and I would, you know, I'd really want to personally see that as a, you know, as a condition of making sure that you
Yeah,
fit that kind of greenery in there. Other than that, I don't have any other comments at the moment. I thought, you know, the roof lines, I think you did a good job getting that down to scale.
I also feel dropping the skirt under the bay has helped.
Yep.
helped
oh,
a
yeah,
lot.
I agree.
Feels,
Yeah,
feels a lot more stabilized.
Yep.
One question I do have, just a couple things jumped that are concerns for me. What is the width of your front door? Because the landing going into that
Yeah,
looks like it would become a pinch point that could be very difficult for
Can you tell?
coming and going with groceries. It would be very difficult to get furniture in and out of because you don't have any sort of turning ability out there.
I
So
think,
I'm curious if that deck could actually match the dimensions of the roof above it, and still allow for cars to come in and out, because that does
Yeah.
feel tight.
yeah, I think we can do that. I mean, I was shooting for 48 inches coming in and a 36-inch door, but it looks like
The
more.
way it's drawn, it looks
It
like
looks
it's
like a 36 and a 36.
36 and 36,
It
and I
does,
think
it
you would
does.
be a lot better off, just because if you've ever had that sort of,
It's tight.
that's tough.
It's tight,
And
and I
as
don't-
the front door.
I have some wiggle room, especially to the right, to do that, for sure.
It looks like
Fan
you.
out the staircase too at the top. I mean, if you
Yeah.
needed to keep it narrow at the
Sure,
bottom,
Yeah.
right?
But you do seem to have enough space when I'm
do.
looking at that, because I'm the
On both sides, yeah.
areas that you've marked for the cars aren't actually cars, they're the driveway width.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would sort of think making that a little bit more generous is just functionally
I agree.
work better, but it will also feel more substantial as an entrance,
Yep.
with that getting
Yeah.
pulled up there.
It look great.
I appreciate the variations on elevations. My recommendation would be, especially with eliminating the first floor bay, not to just emphasize the turn of the bay. So if you're going in, I think you would be better off maintaining the siding so the bay feels like something that is integrated into the building, not attached to the building,
Versus the board and bat.
versus the board and batten.
Yeah.
The board and batten, all of a sudden, that unit feels like something attached
Yeah.
instead of something that's integral to the
I agree.
structure.
Yeah.
And I think that will, especially when you are going to be experiencing that from the street and looking up, you're going to be
Yeah.
seeing the underside of the carport. So you're going to really want to feel that that's an entire piece, not
Yeah.
not something that has a surface detail on it.
I agree.
I do think the banding helps significantly on it. I do notice that you've done some experimentation with either maintaining the banding as it is or even adding a second. And I think that both are successful.
Yeah.
Right now, this has light fixtures that are on the first, second, and third floor, as if the porches were still there. And I don't think I would recommend that because I feel like those would start, they will make it appear that there was a porch that was removed.
Yeah.
Which there was.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that they're adding light where there's no light really needed.
Yeah.
So I would avoid those. I had a question around the hatch. I think it might just be a Revit thing, but there's two variations. You have a hatch, then you have a hatch with like a safety rail around
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
So that might have just been imported unintentionally. And I think with this type of roof hatch, this is really about access, not a deck
Right.
there.
Right.
Okay. Great. I guess the only other thing I would say is I appreciate the introduction of the cobble. I'm wondering if it could be increased a little bit to start cutting down the amount of blacktop out there.
Yep.
Just for heat gain, but also
It
to sort
could-
of
it could-
maybe show where car
I
parking
was going to say,
is.
it could define the
Yeah,
car
to
parks.
define the pedestrian to the automotive.
Yep, I like that. At least on the front where the columns are. I'm looking at it now.
You have anything?
Yeah.
And around where the passage in is,
Yeah.
I think that entry, you could sort of
Yep,
allow that to be a little bit,
wider.
yeah, lighter in color.
Thanks, Chair. Bill, do you have anything?
No.
No? Are you good, Chair? All right, great. Anyone from the public here to speak on this? No? Okay.
Online? Anyone online?
Oh, yeah. Anyone online?
I did have one other recommendation, on the rear elevation, or I'm from the Midwest, so we'd call it the front elevation. If you face the water, it was always the front of the building. But here we'll call it the rear. The windows there, my recommendation would be to trim those windows comparably to the other windows, so there's consistency.
Okay,
Because right now they're being shown as trimless. There's no banding on them at all.
gotcha. Okay,
Okay, great. If there are no further comments from the board, then even though we've already done this once before, I think it probably makes sense to just go through the special permit conditions to make sure that we're all aboard. So just running through, let's see. The project shall minimize the volume of cut and fill, the number of removed trees, the length of removed stone walls, the area of wetland vegetation displaced, the extent of stormwater flow increase from the site, soil erosion, and threat of air and water pollution. I think we're comfortable that it achieves
Right.
that.
Yep.
Maximize pedestrian and vehicular safety both on-site and egressing from it. I think we've solved that pretty well. Minimize obstruction of scenic views from publicly accessible locations. I think we've addressed that as well. Minimize visual intrusion by controlling the visibility of parking, storage, or other outdoor service areas viewed from public ways or premises residentially used or zoned. I think we spent most of our time talking about that and the parking. Minimize glare from headlights and lighting intrusion. That's been addressed, and thank you, Jer, for those most recent lighting comments. Minimize unreasonable departure from the character, materials, and scale of buildings in the vicinity as viewed from public ways and places. Again, I think all the recent revisions have done a lot to achieve that. Minimize contamination of groundwater from on-site wastewater disposal systems or operations on the premises involving the use, storage, handling, or containment of hazardous substances. I don't think that's really a problem here. Ensure compliance with the provisions of this zoning bylaw, including parking and landscaping. That is satisfied. Minimize adverse traffic impact of the proposed project. I think just by adding the parking, it's beneficial. And minimize the hazard of coastal flooding, taking into account the effects of long-term sea level rise and storm surge. I think that's achieved through
Yeah.
these revisions as well.
I agree.
So with that, Sure, maybe you'd like to make a motion if you're inclined to? Conditions?
Sure. I would make a motion to approve.
Identify this one. How do we identify this one? Is there
Well, I'll try to do it.
okay.
You correct me if I do it badly.
Okay.
What I would do is propose that we pass this with the conditions that the siding on the bay would be consistent with the house siding, and that the banding on the building be maintained with the option of adding the third floor banding. The lighting be reduced to the first floor and not on the facade on the second and third floor. With the widening of the front stoop to allow for easier egress, and the addition of paver stone in the pedestrian ways to minimize the blacktop lot coverage. Did I hit everything?
Curb overreach, is that?
I think that was
Is that the
included in
last one?
with the
Okay.
maximizing the curbing. And
Okay.
I would just add,
Greenery.
all lighting is dark sky compliant, which I know we talked about last time. And in terms of the landscaping, that we'd like to see landscaping with some sort of substance and not simply sort of, patches of grass, which I know is challenging here, but I think you can.
We can do it.
I think I think we're clear about, what's needed. And I think you'll do the best that you can here. And
Krista, do you have that, or you want us to read?
Or do you want to
State
read
that.
it to us?
Okay. I caught most of them.
Okay.
So you motion to approve with the conditions that the siding is consistent with the house siding on the bay. Banding is maintained with the option for the third floor. And then there is another one. Sorry.
That the
Lighting.
with the option of adding the third floor, the lighting that's above the second floor on the facade be eliminated.
Yep.
front door widening.
Widening
Yep.
of the landing at the front door to increase ease of egress.
Yep. At the front door.
Vision of-
Landscape,
Yeah.
inclusion of landscaping as shown in plans,
And
increasing of non-blacktop pavers around the pedestrian areas, including the front door,
and to delineate the parking spots.
and to delineate the parking spots.
And dark sky compliant lighting.
And the last would be that I did forget, but I will add at this moment, that the trim on the new window configurations on the ocean side of the building be to match the window trim on the rest of the house.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, so moved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
All right. The next item on the agenda is another continuation from the December 10th public hearing. This is application 25-21, 80 Puritan Road by Scott Miller, requesting a site plan special permit. And before I open this one up to the petitioner, I just want to have the board talk for a moment, because I think we're still missing some application items earlier today, or we received them this morning.
Yeah, and I don't have a copy of that one in front of me.
Is that one in the,
Right, so
that right,
the application is still missing a landscape plan,
Okay.
as well as architectural elevations that separately define existing and proposed.
You want
Right now,
it
they're
side by
combined
side,
into
is that
one.
right?
Yep.
The elevation.
So those are the two things that are missing for a complete application.
And I had some questions about the calculations of the square footage on the half-story on the
Yeah.
third floor.
So I'm wondering if you want to continue this, given that we've already heard this petition at the last hearing, and,
I'd like to just clarify, the elevations that we're missing is the elevation of the existing house with the two neighboring houses, showing the existing and the new version, so that we see the scale and proportions.
And we also don't have comments from all the other board members. Not the board members, pardon me, all the other, I was particularly interested in the fire department in terms of the
Right.
the decking.
So we actually did receive comments from the fire department today following your request for that. And that has been added to the project folder, but they did not have any concerns.
Okay, good. Yeah, so we just, at the end of the day, we just need to see a complete application, and that's the most important thing, so that we can just get through the entire process smoothly and quickly and be able to evaluate the project properly.
So I would move to continue to the February meeting.
Second?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we'll continue it to the February meeting, and if you could just have the full application by then, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the town or any of us, just in terms of, what's required to have it be complete by the next one. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is application 24-18, 450 Paradise Road and 555 Essex Street by CENTERCORP Retail Properties Incorporated, by Ken Schutzer Esquire. Ken?
Good evening. Pleasure to be before the board. We were last before the board, you may recall, on January the 13th, at which time the approval for the site development plan was granted. In the interim, we've discovered a few modifications and revisions to those plans. You should have before you actually two letters from Mr. Horsfeld of Kelly Engineering, who's here this evening, one which was, I believe, dated November the 18th, and the other was today, in response first to the revisions and second to some questions that the board had raised preliminarily, for which a response has been provided. They dealt with the pad labels, the dumpsters, the fence, and then there was a clarification issue. I sent those along, and hopefully you have them in your packets. I received them today. So for the purpose of moving this through, especially in light of the time constraints, Mr. Horsfeld is here. He's here to describe the revisions and modifications, as well as, if you want to put the site plan on the screen, in case there's any specific questions, he can
Okay.
answer them for you. Mr. Horsfeld.
Okay.
Okay.
In the interest of time, would it be better if you guys had, because the letter is pretty self-explanatory, if you have questions, you can ask, as opposed to having Garrett go through everything chapter and verse. But it's your choice, obviously.
I guess maybe I'll just do any board members have any specific questions that they want to address? If not, I might just take a minute. I didn't see them until just now, so I'm just going to look.
Yeah, of course.
Right, and I do want to note that on the screen, they did provide responses to some comments that the board and questions that you had, so those are included as well.
Thank you, Krista. Okay.
I guess on that note number 9 clarification, maybe you could just talk to that. That was the main one that I was like, just not even really concerned with, just a little confused about. It sounds like everything's aligned with whatever was permitted for, but maybe you could just point out whatever was changing.
Yeah, certainly, for the record, Garrett Horsfall with Kelly Engineering Group, civil site engineer for the project. So a lot of these changes can be summarized as general project development as these type of scale of projects advance with the architectural team as well as the landscape architectural team. So in terms of the plans being fully aligned for permitting, our landscaping plans are fully in sync with the architectural plans. There were just some minor door revisions. The landscape exterior plazas have been modified. But I think I noted in some of my responses that a lot of the critical setbacks, for reference, the setback to Essex/Loring, that buffer has been maintained. That critical edge of the building did not shift. There were just some architectural banding strips in the facades of the building that have been represented in that red overline plan that has been submitted.
Okay. Sure. Anything?
These are hard to read. Just the overlays are sort of confusing. Everything looks like minor adjustments. I would ask if there is one that you, like I'm seeing that there's the addition of some parking, which is great to see on the side here. I'm assuming that's based on site discovery.
Look, when we're in the field, every day, we're trying to see how we can make this thing better.
Yeah, yeah.
And, once you're on the ground, you get a feel for it, and obviously, I think everybody recognizes, based on Sam Walker's opening, that we're going to be parking challenged.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to try and make sure that we could carve out every space.
Yeah.
Keeping it as honest to what we're trying to accomplish.
But all of that seems great. It seems like
Yeah.
you made some discoveries in the
Exactly.
field
And
that
that's
allowed
exactly
for it.
That's exactly what this
Yeah,
is.
so that's just why I
And adapting to the central tenants in the middle,
just minor increase in building size, but
Exactly.
within between the two buildings, so
Right.
it's not an impact. Externally, some realignment of sidewalks based on discovery.
Right.
I think the word tweak would be the word, but I couldn't find tweak in our
Yeah.
vocabulary, so we put modification.
So I guess the one question is if you can just explain along the front of, it's I think it might be in front of lot C3, the changes at the sidewalk, I'm just curious what they represent, the red that's in there, because in plan it's not terribly clear.
So those are just landscape features within. I think there'd be various turf plazas. I believe that's right along the front of the shopping center you're referring to, the question?
Yes.
Yeah, so originally we just had some rough teardrop shapes, and they've since been sort of refined teardrop shapes.
And are
but
those just cutouts or are they actual structure? I can't tell from this if that.
I believe there's some low. I believe there's some low seating walls built into there. I don't have the landscape architecture plans there in front of me at the moment, but Andy may know as well. But
Yeah, we have low seating walls, curved benches that are built in into it.
That's what I was assuming they were, but they're just,
Yeah.
they're simple enough lines that I just wanted to make sure. And then I'm assuming the areas that are on page C07, back near the rear of the rear of the grocery store and that whole entrance, that's a functional realignment based on vehicular access and dumpster pickup and all of that.
correct. We had a meeting with Stop and Shop. We verified all of their access that was required of it, and we also coordinated with the city of Salem for that curb cut onto Loring. So those are the final results of the meeting with Stop and Shop as well as city of Salem.
Okay,
Great.
very good.
And I can see these corrections have been made
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone from the public here to comment or online?
I guess, Mr. Chairman, what we're asking is that the decision now reflect the new site plan as opposed to the old one, because ultimately it's going to be built based upon the revised
Sure.
plan. And we don't want there to be any misunderstanding of anyone who does any research at the registry which plan is the plan of record.
Yep. Just an amendment to the existing.
That's exactly right.
To
That's
reflect
right.
this,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just, instead of saying, as per certain plans submitted on certain date,
Yeah.
it'll be, these new plans submitted on such a date as approved, assuming the board approves them.
Yep.
And
What was the date they were submitted?
the only other thing that we submitted was there was a question about the dumpster screening, and we submitted that as well.
Yep, yep, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't have anything else.
Yeah, me neither. Okay,
Did you have anything else?
okay.
Okay, we'll make a motion to approve the site plan as amended.
Is the site plan have a date on it, so we can reference the date, so it'll be
We
easily?
could say it as approved at the
Right.
planning board meeting of January 12th, 2026.
Okay.
I think what you're asking for, though, is the date of
Right,
the per-town comments dated 01/06/25.
The latest date on the
26.
plan submitted with this request is December 1st, 2025, revision 5, updated plan of record. So December 1st, 2025
25.
would be the updated
And
plan.
as approved by the planning board on January 12th, 2026.
Oh,
Well,
but that's not on this drawing.
Well, but this is the plan we're approving tonight, so.
Isn't that that's the most?
I think what we're saying is that we are amending the plans approved on January 13th,
Right, okay,
2025.
Exactly.
Today.
We're approving, it, right.
Yeah.
Okay, amended on that date, but we approved it on this date, exactly,
The plans approved on that date are being amended by
Okay.
the plans approved tonight.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So,
I thought
Krista,
you
you
were
have that.
asking for verification that it was on this drawing.
Oh, no, I just wanted it to be clear that
Yep.
the plans
I know.
dated certain were the plans that were approved, so
Yeah.
there wouldn't be any
got it.
any misunderstanding. Thank you.
Yeah.
Understood. So, Krista, is that clear? Okay. So that's the motion.
Okay. Should we say it one more time?
Yep.
I'm going to go back. So right now, the plans that we have in front of us, the revision has not been added to these plans.
It has.
I just want to clarify a couple things. So I think the red line overlay that's in front of you is more of an exhibit. In the record set, there was a stamped overall layout plan submitted, updating that sheet.
Okay. So we need the date off of that.
Yep, that's the December 1st, 2025 revision date of that plan set. So
Okay.
the red, yeah.
Right, that's the one that we'll be signing.
Yep,
Right.
correct. The red line
That's
overlay,
not in front of us, right.
the red line overlay in front of you, as you picked up on, is what the board approved last time, and we have ghosted into the background in red the changes to show for clarity for exhibit purposes.
Very good.
Okay, so then I'm going to move that we vote to approve the site plan as amended on December 1st, 2025, and approved by the planning board tonight, January 12th.
Is there a second?
So do we care when it was amended? This is when it starts.
Yeah,
right?
because that's what identifies the plan that has the overlay on it, this change.
Okay.
That's the date of the
Yeah,
plan.
okay. All right, I'll second.
All right. All those in favor?
Right,
Aye.
Thank you
Thank you very
much.
much.
sure, thank you.
Thank you.
Looking good over there. Huh?
Did we do that within our allotted?
You did a great job, thank you.
All right, Ken, I'll talk to you.
Okay.
Okay. All right, next on the agenda is application 26-1, 11 Pine Hill Road, by Michael Calpin, requesting a site plan special permit to partially demolish the existing single-family home and rebuild a new single-family home at 11 Pine Hill Road.
Okay.
Yeah, so I purchased my grandmother's house, and
Mike, would you mind just introducing yourself? Sorry.
oh, sorry. So I'm Michael Calpin. I'm the homeowner. This is my wife Megan. We recently purchased 11 Pine Hill Road from my grandmother, and are looking to renovate it and add on to it to move our family into.
Okay.
So, as you can see, there's no setbacks, or we're within all the setbacks. We're not trying to expand the footprint. We're going to go up on the existing foundation and leave the existing garage, tear down the first floor of the living space and rebuild in kind with some new windows, and then go up over the garage and the first floor.
Okay. The current home, how many bedrooms does it have in it?
It's currently a 2-bed, 2-bath, and it will be a 4-bed,
Okay.
2 baths, 2 half baths.
And are you aware of the I&I fee that we have for the additional bedrooms?
Yep.
So let me just see here.
I will chime in and just let you all know, as the board, that discussions that happened earlier between the applicant and I surrounded what determines a complete application. So this revised application in front of you includes architecturals of the existing, like this rendering in front of you that they submitted today. I think that, you know, Jer, I saw that you submitted some thoughts as well, and we might have a discussion right now on what the requirements are and for a complete application, so we can move forward.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, if it works for the board, I think we should probably still have a discussion and go
Yes.
through. You know, I think that's only fair. But yeah, there might be some missing elements from the petition, and we'll want to make sure that those are there, you know, probably before anything's approved. But
Okay.
what can you tell us? Sorry, Krista, specifically which one, which?
I can, well, go ahead, why don't you go ahead and explain, Krista, unless you'd like me to.
So it was the side-by-side existing and proposed. It's a little bit unusual, the perspectives that we received. You know, they're not detail by detail what is existing compared to what's proposed. It's more of these sketch-like drawings. And I know that there was also comment about maybe the detail required for the interior spaces as well, for the architecturals.
Right.
So that's just, you know, potentially things that we could discuss for completeness.
Yep. And we have like examples that we can provide probably, right? Yeah.
We do, and in fact, I think we have some applications that I've probably mentioned in the past are like really good textbook examples of what we'd like to see, even though some of those are you know, different than this. You know, essentially, what we want to look at is the plot plan with all of the abutting properties, indicating the distance between the closest, you know, contact points, if you will, of your property and the neighbor to, you know, in each direction. You know, and you do have some of that. I mean, it's a little broken up, but I mean, it certainly is readable for us. The other piece of it would be, and you do have sort of a plot plan of the existing home, with, and then you have a kind of a diagram of what, from sort of a sky down view of what the newly constructed home would look like. Essentially, when we have a home that's being, you know, modified to this extent, whether you're doing partial demo or kind of a bigger demo or complete demo, what we require is to see on a sheet, you know, a sketch of, and it can be, you know, a sketch like this, but it has to be to scale and side by side. So here's my existing, here's what's here, this is what I want to build on the same page. And then you kind of show it from different angles, and then you go through the existing building showing all of the elevations, all of the dimensions and height and so forth, and width, and then you go through the floor plan of the existing building, showing exactly kind of what's there. If it's, kind of simple, sometimes you can overlay the new floor plan on top of the existing to show what's changing. That's very helpful. But then you also want a set of plans that shows elevations of the proposed new structure, with, obviously heights and so forth, and which you have. You've added the elevations there, which is very helpful. And you also want to show each floor plan, and in the floor plans, you should be identifying every room that's in there, and for the most part, I think that's pretty, legible on your plan. On the plot plan, it's pretty easy to get a grading example. I mean, a lot of these lots, your lot might be completely flat, or it might drop off on one side. So it's always important for us to know, like, if there's, if there's something unusual about the grading. Typically we'll ask for a grading plan so it can be understood. If there are going to be changes, I'm assuming that you might, change electrical, it could have an old heating system, stuff like that. So we'll understand what kind of connections you might need to the street. You've already got sewer and so forth. But it helps us put a bigger picture together. On a site plan like this, you can include the landscaping plan right on that site plan. So you don't have to do a separate plan for landscaping. But what we'd be most interested in is, for example, you've got sort of what looks like a specimen tree on part of that lawn. We'd want to know, is that coming down? We'd want you to try to preserve as many trees that have 6 caliber bases and greater. And we'd be interested in knowing any other, landscaping changes that you're making. And to that end, we'd want to know the overall, make sure you're still in compliance with your open space responsibilities in terms of the percentage of the property that remains open space. And when we say open space, that never includes anything paved, whether it's with pebbles, cobblestones or blacktop. Open space is where something green is growing, basically. So that's the way we calculate that. So those are the main points.
Okay.
So aren't all of those covered here in some form or another?
Yes. Right. Yeah. So the question is, with what is presented to you tonight, do you feel that the application is complete enough? And if so, then, you could make a motion and move forward. So it's up to the board.
So some of the questions I posed tonight were actually, they're sort of a board question. I'm the newest member on here, so I'm not exactly sure how strictly we follow what the drawing requirements are. These images that were submitted as elevations aren't actually elevations. They're supposed to be elevations in scale with the
Floor plans.
With the new, the existing and the new, and these are actually from photographs that have been digitized, and they're an elevation is flat. It's not a it's not.
We were informed of this morning that we need.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But that's why I'm wondering if we can accept it.
Understood.
Because of what the guidelines are.
I just feel like this is like our family home. We have a lot of money tied up.
Oh yeah.
Here, and I felt as though we had given everything we needed, and
but we need to make sure that what we're doing though is aligning with what the bylaws are asking us to do. So please don't think of it as a personal thing.
Right, it's not personal judgment. This is just what we have to, basically what we have.
Can we gather enough information from what we have? And being new on this, I don't have that answer, and that's why I was posing it this afternoon when the drawings came in. The other thing is that we do ask for is an elevation that includes the houses next door, and especially when a building is increasing in height, we want to make sure that there's documentation that it's in proportion with what's happening on either side of it and not necessarily negatively impacting that. One question that I did want to ask was regarding the bulkhead. Is the current bulkhead a traditional?
There is no bulkhead right now.
There's no bulkhead at all? Yeah. Okay,
That's why
because that one piece there, I we need to actually look at that, because this is moving outside of the footprint.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to
It's
look
still
at that
within
as
the
a.
setbacks.
Mhm.
It doesn't encroach on.
Yeah, but it's still, it's a change, and we have to like watch that a little bit, because I know that this was, is proposed as something that's not changing the footprint, so I just want to make sure we're not changing the footprint.
Yeah.
Because it looks like a structure. From the front elevation, it's a full story, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine with a metal bulkhead if that's more amenable.
I would defer, because again, it's a reason I'm asking the question is when I saw that in comparison, it didn't exist in the other drawing. I was reading it off of what we initially had. And then the question that I have for the board also is the interior is incomplete in the sense that lots of things are labeled, but I'm assuming that the homework room and the pantry is in front of the kitchen. So we're talking a kitchen and a living room here on this first floor plan.
Sorry.
That's all right.
So, the other reason that you'll want to have a fully flushed out set of plans is that once, after the project is built, you have to submit an as-built to the building inspector. And then he confirms that what you built is actually what you were permitted. And typically, he'll probably do that before everything's finished. In the event there was some, glaring error, which to my knowledge hasn't happened, but that is another requirement. So the instructions for submitting site plan are, on the website, but, you're not alone, it gets missed sometimes, so.
Okay.
And it's definitely, certainly nothing, it's not your fault. Okay, so.
It's actually not on the website.
I'm sorry?
The website's incorrect. There's so much outdated information on the website, it's impossible. Okay.
So what do we want to do here?
Well,
So I still am trying to get my arms around what's missing. Like, we've got
Okay.
maybe a label on kitchen, but it's obviously next to the pantry.
Well, that's, and the question that I had, again, this is a board question. There's a submission of layout. I personally don't think that that's of great importance, but I'm just not sure that as a planning board, when we approve something, there's some areas that I've got concerns about your alignment with walls structurally. Have you had an engineer go through this? Okay. Just the supporting of, you're pulling the wall in over the garage on the second floor, so it's not aligning. If that's all stuff that you've figured out. There's a few moves in here that concern me. You don't have sufficient roof structure on your porches. They're shown at a thickness that would be problematic. So there's a number of things, but what I'm concerned, because I can look at this and see them, but if we approve things, I'm assuming that would land under the building inspector, not us. So for what we're looking at, it really would be, I think the main thing that's missing is it in the streetscape, based on its size. The front elevation showing adjacent properties.
Yeah, I'm not, because it's within the zoning requirements,
You're not worried about that?
I'm not
It's
worried
still-
about that.
Still less than 28, right?
Yeah, and it's still quite, reasonable for that neighborhood and, being familiar with it as I am. This kind of a ranch home is around Pine Hill, Walnut, that area. Those are very common,
So
very common
what-
in the Shaw.
Do you feel that what we do have, we can?
I think we can. I think, the staging of when they were submitted is usually off the schedule, even though overall, the application was submitted in a timely fashion. So the details that we needed have been added. It's my opinion that, because I see this as a relatively simple build-out, that I don't have concerns about approving it. And the fact that there is no dimensional relief that's needed.
That's
We're
needed.
using the identical footprint.
Okay.
That it's fully within the zoning allowances for the area, that where the landscaping's essentially not changing. It's just, they're expanding the home.
That's a good point, right? We're here because it's, a 2,000 square foot total addition, is that what it is?
It's a little less than that. It's
Yeah.
like a 1,400 square foot.
1,400,
Right.
okay, so it still crosses the
Right.
threshold.
It
That's why
crosses
we're
the
here.
threshold, but it's not, the footprint doesn't change
And so
on
the footprint
house,
isn't
right?
changing.
Aside from that, like I said,
Aside
we're
from
adding a
that.
bulkhead, so
Right.
access.
Right,
basically.
yeah.
Right, so that, and
And if that's within
dimensionally,
setbacks,
the setbacks aren't moving, it's dimensionally in terms of height and every other way, we're not changing driveways. I mean, in fact, you're using the same driveway.
The same
Yeah,
garage.
We're gonna repave it, but it's gonna be the
Yeah,
same.
okay.
Yeah.
And, no landscapes being reduced, I mean, essentially, I mean, I think what we were getting at was that our process was out of sync with this, even though you ended up supplying us with what we needed tonight. It's just, and because this, was substantially complete when you submitted it, I personally don't have a problem with, I mean, I don't see what else I'd need to, if I saw it any differently next month, it's not going to change how I would vote on it right now, put it that way.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
That's
and
how I
my
feel.
questions were on this really specific to how exacting are we in what is supposed to be submitted?
right. And I would say to you that this is a circumstance where it's so precise in terms of adding a second floor and an existing footprint, and being well within the zoning compliance for everything, for use, for height, for all of it, for, that it's just, it does nothing but improve the site, and there is no detrimental aspect to it. And it is, I just, because of that, I don't have a problem with getting the dimensional piece of it.
Right. I also want to chime in and say that the Historic Commission determined that this does not need a public meeting or historic approval.
Just put Pine Hill, right?
Yep, it doesn't.
Okay.
The original is 1956?
Two.
52?
It's 74 years old.
Yeah,
Okay.
Rich.
Yeah.
Good timing.
Rich had informed me today that,
Oh, geez.
is it John Liebman, or?
Oh,
Correct.
Jonathan.
Yeah, Jonathan.
Yeah. When they researched it, it was built in 1952,
No,
not
yeah.
1950.
There are some of those buildings out on Walnut Street, which you're probably familiar, that kind of a little group of them that are kind of a very distinct mid-century style. They're a little different, but that's not, this I wouldn't be concerned about. So my feeling is that, I would make a motion to approve site plan
Should we
special
just
permit.
open it up for
comment.
public
Yeah, I
comment?
Oh,
I know
pardon
there
me.
are a few neighbors here.
Pardon me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do that first. Let's open up to public comment.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Yep.
Yep.
So my name is Jeff Tardif. I'm the neighbor behind them at 44 Walnut. So I wanted to thank Mike and Meg for being proactive about communicating around this change, because it is a big change for the neighborhood directly abutting. My question, I guess, is the overall height that you're expecting to raise the building up to, does it come into matching the same height as the neighbor next to you, the White House?
So it'll be, I think it's 1.5 feet lower from what I could figure out on
Okay.
the White House.
Okay.
So it's not as high as their house.
Okay. And just for the board, what is the overall height limits for any changes to elevations on single-family homes? Do you,
35 feet
Oh, it's 35.
to the midline of the roof.
okay, and you're at what, 20?
Yep.
28.
And this is, yeah, this is-
29, just
Okay.
under 29.
All right.
and the other thing is on a peaked house, that isn't the top of the peak.
Right.
It's an average between the bottom of the roof and the top of the roof.
So the peak could
That's
actually be
right about
higher than
here.
35 if approved at any point?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct,
Right,
and this
so you're
is,
This is
actually-
below that,
nowhere
obviously.
near that.
Right, so you're actually closer to 26, essentially.
Yeah.
So is this
Yeah.
your house on the left?
I am directly behind him.
Well, we can't see behind.
Yeah, I don't think you got a picture of that. Yeah, it's directly behind him. I'm on Walnut, so, yeah.
Did that?
No,
answer-
this house works well proportionally to add a second floor onto it. It's not looking excessively high.
Okay.
So I think it's definitely a successful project to extend
Great.
vertically.
And the only other question I had is around grading, because the landscape there does pitch down and we're on ledge, so a lot of the water just naturally drains through my property into the lower part of Walnut. I just want to make sure that when you do excavation and stuff, you're not going to pitch anything towards the
We're
house to
not
increase.
planning on changing the grading whatsoever.
grading, okay,
really, and
perfect.
If anything, when we add those arborvitaes along your fence
Yeah.
line that we talked about,
Yes.
I'll probably mound that up a little bit.
Okay,
So
berm them
should
up a
help
little.
a little
excellent.
bit.
Okay,
But
great. Those are the questions I had. Anything, Bill, that you? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks. Anybody else? Yeah, there's a couple more in the back. There you go, yeah.
Thank you. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
My name is Linda Pastor. I live directly across the street. I'm at 14. I have to commend the Calpins on informing the neighborhood and keeping us all posted, and I'm here to support his plan today.
Great,
Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Anyone online? Okay. Motion?
I'll make a motion to approve site plan special permit for petition number 20 dash, what is it, Krista?
26-1.
Yep.
Thank you, 26
11 Pine Hill.
Correct.
For 11 Pine Hill Road.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Ed, hello.
I was conflicted from that last one too, so.
Ted?
There you go.
All right. All right, next item, we have application 26-2, 24 to 28 Ingalls Terrace by Doug Dubin, requesting a site plan special permit to construct a 2,000 square foot addition to the existing single-family home at 24 to 28 Ingalls Terrace.
Okay.
Matthew Wolverton. I'm here with Doug Dubin and Emmett McNulty. They're the beneficial owners of Eastman LLC, which is the owner of the property. And 24 Ingalls Terrace is a single-family
I have a
home.
hard time hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
You gentlemen, yeah, could you come forward?
Yeah.
That'd just make it a little easier
Thank
for us.
you, yeah.
And yes, when you moved the mic, it helped.
Thank you very much. So again, this is 24 and 28 Ingalls Terrace. 24 Ingalls Terrace is, presently it's a single-family home. It's located in the A4 zoning district, and the property consists of two separate lots. On one lot.
Could you introduce yourself again? I missed.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I'm sorry
I'll
about
start right from the beginning.
I missed it from the beginning.
Yeah, it's Attorney Matthew Wolverton,
Thank you.
and I'm here with Doug Dubin and Emmett McNulty. And they're the beneficial owners of Eastman LLC, which is the property owner.
Great. We can split one here if we're,
So there are two lots located at 24-28 Ingalls Terrace. One lot, there's an existing structure. That lot consists of approximately 2,700 square feet, and there's a separate larger vacant lot of approximately 3,700 square feet. These lots are non-conforming due to the lack of frontage, and they're undersized, so they've merged for zoning purposes. I've gone back through the title, and they've been in common ownership since at least 1947.
okay, and you have, so they're in common ownership, but are they combined?
Yes.
They are. So
They're
it's
all in
one
one
lot.
deed, and I have a copy of the deed, actually.
Okay, great, because it just doesn't show up like that on our records.
Yeah, I noticed on the GIS and the assessor's records, when you go to
Yeah.
the parcel ID, it still shows prior owner.
That's right.
But if you,
Okay, good to know.
it's a site plan that was filed with this, and then just run the meets and bounds on this deed, and a copy for each of you here.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very
You'll
much.
see that it is all combined into
Excellent.
one lot at this point. Okay?
Good.
And so the applicant, the petitioners are proposing the construction of an addition to the existing single-family home to create two-family-style, townhouse-style residential structure. That use is permitted by right in the zoning district, and we are here tonight for a site plan special permit pursuant to section 5.4.2.2 of the bylaw due to the addition of more than 800 square feet of gross floor area. The proposed addition will be dimensionally conforming. So petitioners intend to keep intact the existing structure, which was built in approximately 1852, and have designed the proposed addition to maintain the historic appearance and integrity of that existing structure. With that, if there's any questions from the board members, we have additional material that we filed today at request of the town.
Okay.
In front of you.
So you said that, I mean, I visited the house without you, Doug. I went up there and nosed around on my walk the other day, and yeah, it has, you know, clearly, so no one's living there now?
4 years.
Sorry?
4 or 5 years.
Okay.
It's been vacant for over 3 years.
Okay, yeah, and it looks like it's definitely coming apart, and yeah, there's a lot of rotting around it.
Surprisingly enough, the foundation and everything, the floors are all straight, the walls are still standing straight. It looks like it's falling apart, which it is.
Well, I mean, some of the, where the wood meets the foundation is, you know, it's rotted out. That's, you know, so, it looks like it needs, the structure would be removed. I mean, I can't imagine how you,
Repair.
so you're not taking down any of the
That
walls?
building's staying just like it is. All we're doing is, Doug Dubin, Double E Construction, Eastman LLC, my business partner and I've known the house for a while. I know Ingalls Terrace. I've done personally a bunch of old historic houses. We're going to gut it to the studs, basically, rebuild any headers that need to be deep to meet any code. I'm gonna resave all the crown moldings on the top of the existing building. It's all gonna be clapboard, it's all gonna be 2 windows to look historic, it's all gonna have a frieze board on it, it's gonna have the front porches to meet.
A cute little half-round porch?
No, I can't save the round front porch.
It's so cute.
You actually see the drawings. The new one's gonna look just like it, so it's gonna be historically like it was before, with
So
new
cute.
modern
It goes like
windows.
this, like.
We're basically, the relief we're asking for is because it's 2,000 square feet, but the building itself that's there right now is staying just like it is. We're not changing the footprint.
So you're gonna have to take out the right-hand side of it,
No, it's
No,
actually, the
it's-
foundation stays and it just comes off of it and it builds on top of that.
We need to rebuild part of that foundation.
It's gonna add a new foundation onto that section right there.
okay,
And there'll be a firewall right between the whole 2 buildings.
okay, all right.
So I know it looks weird, that overhang on the right side you're talking about, but that will be part of
So that's in
both
right
buildings right now. It's been abandoned, like she said, for 3 years. The goal is to try to make it a beautiful townhouses for sale. We are not keeping it, I'm not moving into it. I'm going to make sure all the landscaping's perfect. We have parking that's existing on the left side. We're gonna add 2 parking spots on the right side, as per 3.
Okay,
We are going
so-
to accommodate all the neighbors while I'm doing this, to make sure work trucks are, probably 3 work trucks, plumber, electrician, that type of thing. Everyone else will park on Humphrey Street. I will be on top of neighbors to make sure they're good, make sure dumpsters aren't blocking anyone. We'll always have parking. If anyone's there, someone will be there to make sure that this site is going well, because I want it to be done well. As you guys know, I've done a lot of work around town forever. And
So-
this is mine, not a customer's, so I'm on this.
I had a couple questions about, so the lot itself. I tried to look around the back to see, there's precipitous drop-off, right? So I walked down to Humphrey Street and trespassed
I can tell you about the wall.
352's property.
I did too, I did not need
see the wall.
the dentist office or the people that live there. I walked that whole
But that looks
section.
like sheer ledge.
It's sheer ledge, except for behind the building, there's like a 12-foot section of wall that was built on
Right.
top of the ledge.
Okay.
It just needs to be pointed back together right there.
Okay, now is that the property line? Is the
Yeah.
wall, the ledge is the property line?
Ledge is the property line, so it goes like way past the building, that's how we're
Okay.
getting a really nice yard right back there. And we're not raising the level of the yard, it's gonna go there because with Emily's and Christine's house right next door, their backyard kind of goes into that
Yeah.
and meets that, so I can't really mess with the levels or anything like that too much. We're just gonna
Wait,
add a fence
your house is where, to
to the
the,
left.
to the left, okay, all right. So I tried not to walk on your property, but I scooted around the back of his. Okay,
So the question that I would ask is, I'm looking for, first off, I'm just going to say what's on my mind. These are really nice architectural plans.
That's my business partner, Emmett,
Good job.
that's doing this.
This looks, to me, this is a really sound approach to adding another unit to a building. I think the balance is good. I think the fact that you're pulling it back, I actually, from an architectural standpoint, it's nice in plan. I also do
Decks aren't huge off the back.
really appreciate the connector that you're using. It is logical and it feels, the flow of it is quite good. I'm a little confused by, there's a series of photographs that you walked over that the connector, I'm assuming that the plans that were submitted is what we really should be looking at.
Correct, that's for the
There were some experiential, or experiments that,
Yeah, we did some artist renditions and things to land on the absolute design.
yeah. So it's a house I have actually, I love a house in need. It's a house I've always admired. It's a house that I loved when the porch was on it and was sad when I saw it collapse. But the house itself, it still has a really nice pure form. I'm really thrilled to think that you're going to be replicating and,
I like that.
repairing and
I like
replicating.
exactly what the
Yeah,
house is.
and I think
Well, it
that
fits there, too.
it fits really nicely, and to go from the worst house on the street to one that really ties the neighborhood together, because I think that's a really special street. And the steps and everything in there, so I think it's a great property to bring up. I also feel that the view from below will be nice because it is taking advantage of the view without losing track of what the house should look like. I think when you look up and see this, it will be appealing too. The one question that I have, we were talking about the site, is the topography, because I'm not finding any drawings.
There is one picture in there that shows the side picture of the ones I brought you tonight.
So
You can see there.
And in our architectural print, so what he did is he went in and laid out with our surveyor the elevation.
Okay.
So,
Do we need a site plan that shows the elevations on record? with the topo on record.
I mean, I would have liked to have seen a site plan with a topographical plan on it because this is so unique.
It's not really changing though, that's the thing.
Yeah, we weren't modifying the site at all. We did record it so that elevations are correct, and we made sure we didn't exceed.
So the plans are showing the correct elevation at the point that the building is interacting with the
Correct.
ground.
Correct,
Yes.
because I'm
Okay.
matching the floor heights right through everything.
there.
Okay.
And then they have a full set of
If
architectural.
you look at the one that shows the side of it with the porches on the back, you can see the angle coming down, which goes to the wall that way.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're not changing the existing, topography whatsoever.
And I guess the other thing, though that looks like it's about maybe 4 feet of foundation, what is your foundation material?
The new structure will be concrete,
Concrete, okay.
which I'm probably gonna put a veneer on. I'm not gonna give you too much information yet, because I'm not totally positive, but it's gonna,
Looks
Look-
solid brick, isn't it?
the existing foundation's brick. It's like 16 inches of brick,
Yeah.
that old school.
Wow.
It's amazing the condition it's in if you come down the
Yeah,
basement.
it's not a
It's not
big
stone.
field right now.
Yeah, no, that's
Isn't that
nice.
interesting? I know.
Nice.
Chair, I will chime in, and if you look at the screen, these are the requirements, and the topography and drainage plan is required for commercial, but it's not required for residential.
Excellent, good.
But I
That's
am
what I
gonna make sure
needed. Thank
downspouts
you.
and gutters are going the right direction, because I don't wanna flood anybody out. I don't wanna flood my own house out.
Right.
You had a full basement?
I don't know on the new part yet. The old part has a full basement. I'm sorry, your name again, sir?
Theo Carangelo.
Theo Carangelo's told me that there's ledge all next door on his side.
I'll bet.
So I'm going to dig down until I hit ledge. And if I get a
Yeah.
full basement out of it, I will get
I mean, the
a,
amount of ledge there I was amazed.
don't know. We are not going to be hammering. I'm not gonna be blasting
No.
anything and none of that. I am just gonna dig down to ledge and pin it to ledge and come up with whatever I can and make sure it's waterproof to death, so there's no issues. We're not putting living space down there or anything.
Great.
Maybe boilers, we'll see.
I have
And
a
that was-
really
that
important
was-
question.
Yeah. That was,
Can it be red?
We saw that.
I mean, seriously, if we lose that cute little red house, I mean, you just don't do beige and you know,
I loved that note,
yeah.
as a man that lives in a red house.
I would
That's
love
true.
not
You
to
do
put
live
this
in
the
a-
decision.
Red is my favorite color, but
Well, I mean, you got, you know, it
My wife
it
would
has
say
such,
otherwise.
it has such presence, and for this little house that was just, you know, it's so sweet.
What sells the best?
I'd go for the red house any day, as opposed to plain vanilla. Are you kidding?
Yeah,
There's
I
so
would,
much plain
I would say,
vanilla.
I would say what sells the
Please.
best? The view out the back of the
Thank
house.
you. It really does.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I have been looking at that house every time I come down the steps and thinking this has to be saved.
That
And
house is red, too.
I'm really glad to think of it being saved and utilized this way. So I don't have a lot of questions other than the topography, which is showing up in the side view. Glad to know that that is not required. The other,
It's just required only if it was commercial, but the
Right.
point is that, you know, sometimes it's very helpful with this,
Yeah.
but seeing as we have an existing,
and so you're looking at maintaining the existing parking. You'll leave that car there though, right?
I wish you saw, you know I have a bunch of old cars, and I will.
Yes, he
Amazing car.
does. Yes, he
Not that
does.
I'm a Ford Mustang person, but I
And then
would
the
like to
3
restore
additional parking spots,
So much cute.
there. I think that's great.
too.
What are you doing for utilities? Do you have any external compressors, condensers, anything like that?
There will be a couple AC units
Okay.
out back somewhere at the, behind, underneath the deck, something
yeah,
like
underneath
that.
the deck, preferably.
Yeah, probably. They can't be under the deck, but they can be near the backyard deck.
You have a couple spots.
It's remarkable how much, you know, how far back it goes.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
A lot.
I was just fascinated. I mean, I would have loved to have gone inside, but of course.
You're welcome to come in
Yeah, I
tomorrow.
will. I mean, I'll go in with you. I'd
I
love to
scared
just.
one of our neighbors. I
I'd
let
love
her
to
come
just
through the
noodle
other
around
day.
in
She
there.
came through.
But there's some good stuff in there.
I offered to you to go through and you didn't want to see it. I'm sorry, I haven't met you guys yet. All right, we're on 322 Humphrey. You're down below? Yeah. Yes.
So I probably trespassed on your property.
Oh, okay. The purple house. Oh, right.
That's a beauty, yeah.
Did a great
Okay.
job on it.
Yeah. Any other comments from the board?
Public comment.
Yeah.
It is a nice house.
And
No,
just,
not
I mean,
mine.
so,
Yeah, right.
do we, I'm assuming that if historical hasn't been, the reason that this is, it's particularly significant to, and I'm not saying historically significant, I'm not saying that I'm not on the historical commission, okay, but from a historic standpoint, what's interesting is it was built in 1852, which was the year that Swampscott was incorporated as a town. And it's a very, very old house, and it's, as you know, right next to 47 steps, or however many steps are really there. But those were built because of the trolley tracks, because we used to have a trolley up Humphrey Street, and people that lived and worked around the area, and even some that lived in smaller homes and worked at the big estates, would be able to, instead of walking all the way around, Rockland, this, that, all the way around, they could just cut straight down the hill. So you'll see there's actually quite a few properties on Humphrey Street that have staircases, if you look at, and a lot of them are overgrown, but that's, I don't know, I found it particularly charming. Look, I understand some of the concerns that we heard from, people that submitted comments about, density and so forth. I mean, if you stand on that street and you look up, I mean, this is the way that neighborhood's been developed. It's, and
On
basically,
that point, maybe we should open up to.
I think it would be a good
I was gonna say, I'd
idea,
love to
yeah.
hear the neighbors.
Yeah.
Here for
Yeah.
that.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it.
My name is Emily Cantor. I live next door at 20 Ingalls Terrace. 20 Ingalls Terrace is a 3-unit condo. It was renovated home about 14 years ago. It was a rental, and then she sold it as 3 separate units. So I live on in the second unit, which is when you come around the corner, it's on the first floor, but then the deck, the back of it, or that which faces the ocean, is considered the second floor.
Right.
And this is...
My name's Christine Masalbas, and I'm on the top floor.
So thank you for your time. Thank you. This is my first town meeting. And special thank you to Doug, who has been incredibly accessible to us all, answering all our questions. We were able to voice our concerns. He gave you a tour of the house. I'm out. And we did, I don't know if this is the right forum for it, we do have concerns. I can't speak for the other neighbors. Nice to meet you guys. Yeah. But we have concerns in that it's a dead-end street. And a lot of the residents of Ingalls Terrace park on the street. So this will be impacted greatly. We have concerns about that. We have concerns about the trucks, the debris, the equipment, being there all the time. And I know that it comes with growth and it comes with development, and that's the way of the world, and that's fine. We're not opposed to this. We just want a few assurances or get a sense of ideas and plans around removing debris. And if a basement's going in, are we talking digging? Are we talking front-end loaders? What are we talking? I'm glad there's no blasting. Thanks, Doug. And things like that. We are concerned the house, even when it was occupied, had a number of animals living in the unit, especially you can see in the roof where it's rotted away.
Are you talking about pets or animals?
Oh, no, I'm
that
sorry,
got
like
into the
birds.
house?
Birds,
Okay.
squirrels.
That's what I thought.
Go
ahead, yeah.
Things like that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean like puppies. So we're concerned about once they're upended, where are they going? Are they going to live on the beach, or are they going to go live at 20 Ingalls or 28 Ingalls or whatever it is, and 30 Ingalls, exactly.
Right.
So, and I mean, I know that comes with living by the water, and it comes with living in Swampscott. I'm not naive. So we have had discussions, and like I said, Doug has made himself very available to us all, but just more of the same moving forward would be great.
So I can address the pets while getting a building permit and everything. I have to have a pest control plan in place for the building department when I pull a building permit,
Yeah.
which will want that, so there's not much I can do when they leave, because we will be evicting everything that's there. But there will be a pest person in sight. Richie, the bug guy, will be there to trap the place, do the whole thing that it needs to be. As far as the truck, we will have a couple dump trucks that come in that dig out the dirt and take it. And whatever, we'll be digging out whatever the foundation is with a dump truck and a small excavator, not a big anything really.
Yeah.
And he'll put it in the truck and take it and leave some on site, so when we backfill that way. We are going to be making a mess for 6 months. The goal is 6, a little under. And at night, I will make sure everything's wrapped up, clean, safe for everyone like that, like any typical construction job that I do.
Yeah, I think I appreciate that. And I think one of the other things we're concerned is, given, these older homes, our exterior wall to your exterior wall is, I think,
Very
less than 20
close.
feet.
Right,
It's unbelievably
right.
close. And so we're concerned about if, the integrity, the compromise of, sorry, thanks. Our foundation or our wall structure or anything will be compromised in any way throughout this. That's a concern. And I know, Doug, you and I have talked about parking. I'm the car that is, that driveway that's kind of shared. It's
Is it split down the middle?
split down the middle, and it's
that way, yeah.
Which
So-
I've offered, I'm gonna pave her driveway when we do the pavement over
Okay.
there. I'm gonna pull her driveway up with your permission and everything.
Sure.
And we will repave that little section on both sides, so it just makes sense to do it right then.
Okay.
The one thing I would comment on your question around the rodents and the birds and all of that, this will actually, you're going to move through a phase where they'll be disturbed, but then when you don't have that as a nesting area, it will actually improve things in the future. We had a neighbor's house that was infested with pigeons when we first moved here, and they got a really clever cat. And it was a huge, we were not fighting pigeons. We had pigeons all over our house, and we couldn't get rid of them. But they were nesting at the neighbors. Once that nest was gone, it did change things.
Yeah.
So, moving forward, that building moving from its current condition, you will see, an improvement, not only visually, but a lot of the things like infestation issues and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, the design is unbelievable.
They don't know lot lines.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to improve the neighborhood. Like you said, it's not going to be the ugliest house in the hood.
Well, and then
it's just
it'll
a
also
beautiful
be,
design.
I think it will also kind of really beautify there are some advantages, and I understand the concerns. I really do. I understand the concerns. But the lot that's empty there is, it's really overgrown with bracken and, all kinds of invasive stuff that's what happens when places are abandoned like that and not used, that you don't end up with kind of this beautiful, little green plush, park area. You end up with a mess that has a lot of invasive species and messy. I tried to fight my way through there, and it traps garbage. It's not necessarily a good thing. I think that there's also quite a bit of growth at the edge of the lot that is unintentional. I think that will, if people are concerned about their views, if anything, it's going to clean up that edge there and improve the views. And at the same time, we want to be mindful of drainage, so that's going to be a huge consideration in terms of, paying attention to that edge and where's all the water going to go. Because you are taking what's now a pervious lot and displacing it. So, and because it drops right down on ledge, that's something that I'd want to understand what the drainage plan, is going to be.
Drywall on the corners. I'll be making provisions for the water to be able to go in the right location and push out that way on the 4 corners that I need to.
Yeah.
Can't be pushing water places.
Well, especially not into rock, because that's what you don't want to see, right?
Yep.
Okay, we have
Yeah.
additional public comment to move it along.
Yeah.
I
My name is Ivan Sever. I lived across the street for the past 18 years. I sold my house in the end of summer, this last summer. So I'm not really involved. I'm just wondering about the huge tree that's on the empty lot, because that was the only thing that was interfering with unobstructed views. So I think it's going to be removed, right, to make room.
The one right in the middle in the back.
Yeah.
There's a huge pine tree there.
There's a huge pine tree
Yeah.
there.
No, it's a
I think it's a pine tree, but.
it's a maple.
Oh, the elmwood in the back.
It's a maple tree.
Is it a maple?
Yeah, Norwegian maple.
It's a Norway maple, yeah.
So my goal is to prune
Again,
it.
a weed.
I don't want to really take, there's a tree next to Emily and their lot right there too. The pine that's next to your house is one of those pines that drops sap
Yeah.
on cars, and it's overgrown and it's nothing, so I was gonna take those out, but that one tree that you're talking about, I was gonna have my arborist here and just prune it all up and just take anything dead and just clear it a little bit. Because it is a nice tree in the middle of the lot. I know it takes view away from up on the hill, but it is a nice tree right there. Same with the one next to it.
It's not rooting into, I mean, they typically don't have huge
They
root
don't,
balls,
and they're
but,
into that straight ledge right where that is.
yeah,
I'm
that's,
not worried about the tree.
okay.
We'll have an arborist look at it too. like
I
Claire
already
said.
had a couple of arborists there already. Because they're gonna take all the perv in and just clean it through it.
Hi there. So, nice to see everyone. My name's Tia Esty. I live a couple houses back from the property of interest. I just wanted to follow up.
Meeting up the hill?
Yep, up the
Okay,
hill. Yep,
okay.
on Rockland Street. So I had a question as a follow-up to what Emily brought up around parking, and then also Ivan's point around the landscaping. So just to confirm, the property would have the same amount of parking that it does today. You guys aren't planning on building any new parking spaces. Whatever exists plus the on-street parking is what.
No, we're
Tim's
gonna
at.
add
We're adding
spaces.
3 spaces.
Okay.
But we're losing 3 on the street.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if you'll.
No, I don't think 3.
No.
You'd be losing.
Wow.
Maybe like
Because
1.5.
There's a break in the bushes that we just cut to make a driveway. It isn't a formal driveway.
But the width of 3 parking spots isn't 3 cars, because they're coming in forward.
Right.
That's what I. The cut will be wider than a standard driveway, but it won't be 3 car lengths.
Right.
So you wouldn't be adding cars with this house.
You kind of indicate too on one of the, I forget which plan, but that there, you had striping on I mean, what I'd prefer to see there is what we discussed earlier, just like a little cobblestone thing, something that's very subtle and that delineates the parking spot. That
Totally.
identifies it as a spot that belongs to that unit, but that's not screaming parking.
We like that too. It's
Yeah,
classy.
Yeah.
Do you have more public comment?
No.
No?
I had one follow-up.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
sure.
So tied to Ivan's, I am curious about the landscaping and how that could impact the view. You mentioned some trees you want to preserve. Are you planning on putting anything else that's going to be substantial with a lot of height?
Nothing higher, no.
Okay.
Just all 5-foot, 6-foot stuff around the bottoms.
And bush.
I talked about replacing your fence with the really nice fence that I'm gonna go around the whole side with, because he has a chain link there, as long as his dog's safe, is all that matters to us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You good?
Fencing all around, would that come?
Not your side, into the back, around, right to there.
So are there trees being removed? Trees larger than?
There's a pine tree in the
Pine tree
corner.
that has to go.
Right next to
Okay.
his house right there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of bracken and just
Oh.
junk in there.
And from this one photograph, it looks like there's a street tree out in front, or is that?
It is, it's on our property, but it's just junk inside. I was just looking at it the other day.
When you say there's junk inside, meaning
It's like a
the,
hole, like going on the right bottom corner.
Yeah,
this little guy?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's too bad. It's a nice size.
it is a
No,
nice, it is a nice tree.
I said it to him the other
Is it
day.
a flowering tree?
The intent was to see if we could save it.
It'd be
That was
nice to
what
have
we
a
were-
little flowering tree
Chat
there.
to your, chat to your arborist.
Put a tree there, because I want it to look like that on the thing too.
I mean, just the ones that, you can get, well, I don't have to tell you, you can get a dwarf flowering tree that's not gonna,
Absolutely.
bother anyone, that just adds a lot of
It will make the front of that
softness
little corner really
without-
nice right there.
Without cluttering up, anyone's viewpoint. It's interesting to think about, like, from the people that live up the hill a little bit, that there would be concerns about, you can see how you'd say, oh, take down those big trees so I have a better view. On the other hand, you're like, that tree's so nice, I don't want it to come down. So it's, you've kind of got,
I agree.
yeah. I don't know if it might make sense to kind of look at the property and see what's, yes, sir.
The tree actually is the only shade I get. I have no trees on my property, so in the morning, it rests over the house. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm
And,
Theo Carangelo, 30
Yes.
Eagles Terrace.
and I'm assuming you like that. Is that good?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and I think that area is, because of the parking issues, the house, it's an old street, it's a pre-car street, and sometimes those are the ones that get lost to blacktop.
Right.
And that's the one thing up there, I think that whole area is over blacktopped. And it's,
Oh, yeah,
it's
every
like one of there's a number of things in there. I'd love to see the town actually create a plan for up there, because what's happened right now is it's blacktop building
It's
to
been
building.
just paved over.
It's just
It
been
is,
paved
yeah.
and paved and paved.
Especially on the uphill side is just
So if there was-
completely
Now that this
paved
is done,
over.
I'll push Gino to put that on the pavement.
But that's the thing is this is an example of a Swampscott street that has been paved for utility, but it's sort of uncomfortable at this point as a pedestrian to come down the steps and just, you land in parking lot.
Right.
So if there was a way for the town to evaluate it and see if we could have some planning in there, I think that would be a big benefit. And you can pay for, no. But it is a case that I actually think.
I will think about that, because I'm going to think of everything on this, because we want this to really.
Well, I was going to say.
Show well, sell well,
Yep.
make the neighbors happy when it's done
Yeah.
right there.
Because I think that would be one thing
I'm always here for that.
that would help the values on that street,
Yeah.
would be how the town is maintaining the thing. Because right now, it's just maximized for parking. And it has some really amazing elements.
And, trucks have to back in there anyway, so I mean, there's a lot about that that's just not gonna change.
Yeah.
Is there any more public comment?
I don't think so, no, right? Is there anyone online?
Is there anyone online?
I have a question for you.
I'm not seeing hands raised.
Sorry.
I
I
don't
have a
think so.
question for you about, were there hands raised? I'm sorry. Trash.
Oh, good question.
Where's trash gonna go, and who's?
At the beginning, it will be a dumpsters when I plan it.
For the
For
owners.
residents,
For the
when you
owners.
sell them.
Good question.
It'll be in barrels.
There'll be in barrels.
Yeah, but we should, when we look at a project like this, we wanna see them, we wanna,
We'll put it in as a condition that I need to come up with something for you. We will come up with a trash.
there needs to be
bid.
some kind of shed.
Totally agree.
Shielding,
I don't want the.
well, we just, whenever we do any kind of multifamily, which is, what we're gonna call this simply because it's, even though it's by right.
So the left side building next to Emily, that has like a little garage door and there's space down on the
Yep.
back
Yeah,
left.
yep,
But the left tenant will be using that, and the right tenant will be coming out the back right side of there, so it would be behind the back deck, probably both of them.
okay, and
As long
so
as
it
it's
could be
covered.
some kind of little shedded
No
unit.
problem.
It doesn't have to be extravagant, but something
I
that
built
is
one
buffered.
17 Sheridan from Maryland Cassidy. and
Okay,
that
so
house
you
right
want
there.
something that's, something that's, what do you call it? Buffered.
Protected.
Some kind of buffer.
Absolutely.
Okay. And snow removal, if this is, so are they gonna be condos and there'll be a condo association?
Nope.
Who's gonna take care of
The owners will
landscaping,
be
snow
taking care of
removal?
the snow themselves.
They will?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't like to put that in my condo docs.
I mean, yeah, the intention is to have people own it on both sides, we're not condo guys.
Okay.
I think I'm comfortable making a motion. I would just maybe, we run through quickly the
Yeah.
approval criteria.
Yep, let's do that. Okay. All right, number one, minimize the volume of cut and fill, the number of removed trees 6-inch caliper or larger, the length of removed stone walls, the area of wetland vegetation displaced, the extent of stormwater flow increase from the site, soil erosion, and threat of air and water pollution. I think we're comfortable that the trees being removed are required to be removed, and that they are minimizing the volume of cut and fill, unless anyone has anything else to say there. Maximize pedestrian and vehicular safety both on-site and egressing from it. That's what we were just talking about, but adding the parking spaces, I think, helps to achieve that. Minimize obstruction of scenic views from publicly accessible locations. We discussed the height of the new trees going in, so I think that is sufficiently addressed. I mean, obviously, they're putting a new building on there, but this is just an obligation to minimize. Minimize visual intrusion by controlling the visibility of parking, storage, or other outdoor service areas viewed from public ways or premises residentially used or zoned. I mean, the parking is going to be visible, but like we just discussed, we'll add a condition, I think, to shield trash and that sort of thing.
HVAC.
And HVAC.
Yep.
Yeah.
Picket fence or open lattice around it.
Yeah. Minimize glare from headlights and lighting intrusion. We didn't really discuss this. Is there any?
It's as minimized as we can practically
Yeah,
think about it.
right, yeah.
So they
It's not like
start
there's any
making
curves where we're
car
adding
lights a little
headlight
dimmer.
Right.
curvature.
Right, yep.
Blinding like they are now.
Right. Minimize unreasonable departure from the character, materials, and scale of buildings in the vicinity.
Thank you.
Thank you. As viewed from public ways and places, I think we're agreed that this is pretty in line with the character. Minimize contamination of groundwater from on-site wastewater disposal systems or operations on the premises involving the use, storage, handling, or containment of hazardous substances. I don't think we really have any concerns there. Ensure compliance with the provisions of this zoning bylaw, including parking and landscaping. I think we're satisfied there. Minimize adverse traffic impact of the proposed project. I think they've minimized traffic impacts to the extent practicable, given the nature of the street. And minimize the hazard of coastal flooding, taking into account the effects of long-term sea level rise and storm surge. I don't think we really have any concerns on that one here.
So I am comfortable motioning to.
Can I before we make a motion, I have a couple of questions. Two things. First of all, you're aware of the I&I fee for adding the bedrooms? Okay. Just want to make sure. And
They said you were going to waive that.
hey, you must be confusing me with someone else. The staging. Are you going to do one building first and then add another? Or are you going to how are you going to do this?
If we can get a foundation, and this year I will. If my guy with the excavator can come and excavate the ground and we hit ledge, we're going to pour a foundation. I already have my pipe staging over there. I'm going to set up on the side of the building, which basically only sticks off 20 inches of the building, and we're going to leave the windows and the siding on when I demo the whole inside of the existing right now, make sure my frame and everything's right, and we need a foundation for me to build the other part. But I'll get everything ready on the left side as it's going. As soon as the foundation's in the ground, I'll frame on top of it and tie it all back in. I'm not going to remove the roof until it's all up right there and then just tie it all in at one shot.
And what kind of materials are you going to use
On
the house?
Siding, window.
Clapboards.
Clap or
Probably,
light. We might
yeah.
use modern material.
Sorry?
Modern material, composite trim.
What,
and
hardy
stuff like
board?
that.
What?
Hardy, maybe hardy, but it's going to be looking like clapboard.
It's going to be a
product.
clapboard finish.
But it's
But not a
gonna be
vinyl.
Nothing
Not
vinyl.
vinyl.
No, not vinyl.
Okay.
No.
And then with your windows, are you planning true divided or?
True divided, 2/2,
Good.
1x6 on the outside with a band molding going all around with a
Perfect.
traditional colonial sill on the bottoms of all the windows.
Right.
Outside corner boards, the 7 1/4 rake board trims are gonna match and stay on the new and both.
Right.
Shadow board underneath the bottom of the rake right there, so it's gonna look
Yeah.
That's not changing, that upper view.
Excellent.
That, I'm gonna reuse all that staying right like it is.
That's so much of the charm.
Yeah, no, it
Just
really,
like we talked about, that house is gonna look 1855 that it was built.
awesome.
So, and I know we jokingly talked about color, but, and I know you don't want to hear this because those composite boards don't come in that color.
They come in every color.
Okay, good.
Oh, yeah.
Just,
And they're,
if you could consider it, and this, I'm not saying it has to be that color, but it's, no, look, my house is like beige and white, gray and white, so I'm not putting it down, but if, honestly, it's just.
So I'm gonna have my son or Emmett ask AI, what is the best color for historic 1855?
AI is not your friend on that topic.
No.
And it will.
You can, exactly, they did, right?
And I have no problem with that at all, because I do want the
It
comment.
would really make a difference, it would really make a difference.
Yeah.
And
The HDC webpage has a list of preferred colors that you can reference also.
thank you, Krista.
Yeah.
Ted,
But the red,
So that's a strong recommendation, not something that we can condition, but I'd love to add that as a,
I appreciate your recommendations, for sure, always.
thanks.
That's what you're here for, the board.
With that, okay, I'll make a motion to approve a site plan special permit for 24 to 28 Ingalls Terrace with the conditions of a screened trash receptacle for both of the units and HVAC systems.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I need to tell you what a great job Chris has done for us all.
Krista's been excellent to work with.
She's been right on,
Yay.
absolutely.
Yes, she is. Thank you, Krista.
a thought on your, when you're excavating your basement, if it is not full height and not usable as a basement, consider integrating your trash storage into it.
Absolutely.
That's,
The left side will work, because
Yeah.
there's a patch door right there that will work.
but
Storage is
it's,
the next frontier.
that's the way it was done on my house, and it's an exterior
Seriously.
entrance built, stone wall around it, and I never want to not have a house without a trash room.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good
Really
luck.
appreciate it.
I may call with,
Come by.
and I'd love
Right
to,
now,
I'd love to get
maybe
inside.
Time to look at it.
Together. You
Yeah.
wanna go together?
Love to show it to you.
Thanks again.
And come by while we're building it too. Like, that's
Yeah.
fun.
For lunch.
Definitely.
Krista, are the folks ready for the presentation? Yep.
Okay, great. All right, thanks, guys. Don't expect to get through that tonight, which is all good. Okay.
Okay.
What do we have?
We have a presentation by MAPC.
For the master
How's the
plan.
baby?
She's wonderful. Beautiful as can be. Thank you
Yes,
very much.
and her name?
Thank you very much, I
yep.
appreciate it.
Thanks.
We'll call you.
Great job. Please come.
Oh, we will.
Merritt.
Bye.
All right.
Have a good day.
Yeah, Mary, we're calling her.
Nice.
Okay.
You could call
so-
it.
That would be good.
Okay,
That would go over well.
so online we have Carlos from
Guys,
MAPC.
Folks in the back.
Sorry, we've got a presentation we have to listen to.
They, no.
Thanks.
Nice to see people.
Okay, hello, Carlos.
Good evening, everyone. Hi.
Hi.
Hey, Carlos.
Hi, Carlos.
Hello. Should I proceed?
Yes,
Take it
yes,
away.
yes.
Yep, we're ready for you.
I'm so
That's
sorry.
music. That's good.
All right, good evening, everyone. Chair and members of the planning board. I'm Carlos Montanez. I'm a principal planner with the MAPC Regional Planning Agency. We've been working with Marzio and Krista from the town's Office of Economic and Community Development, and tonight we'd like to present to you an executive summary of Swampscott 2035, draft 1 of your updated master plan. We'll walk you through what we heard from the community and how we translated that into a guiding roadmap for your town. And at the end, we have an overarching question for you, which is, have we struck the right balance between ambition and achievability in terms of implementation? And your feedback tonight, as well as through a future public comment period, will be able to help us finalize the final plan report for you. So this plan reflects 18 months of community engagement. There were 3 public forums with about 160 attendees. We had 385 responses, generating 1,800 individual comments. The 27-member advisory group met 6 times and also gave feedback through 2 input exercises as well. The process was designed to ensure that the final vision reflects community consensus from participating community members together with recommended best planning practices. And along the way, we've transparently showed how emerging and evolving consensus goals and strategies to show where they came from via the survey, the ongoing advisory group discussions, as well as the 3 public forums that we held. So you're starting from a position of sustained efforts and strength. In the recent past, the town secured a municipal vulnerability preparedness MVP designation with action grant funding. Also, the town has advanced the MBTA Communities Act compliance, as well as ADU bylaws that were approved recently. And there were nearly $400,000 in complete streets funding secured. Additionally, 8 businesses were supported with $75,000 in facade grants. And this plan proposes to accelerate this existing momentum while tackling bigger challenges that require a more sustained effort. So we want to be clear about what the master plan is and isn't. It's a shared vision. It's a flexible roadmap. It's a good faith reflection of community consensus. It's not legally binding. It's not unanimous agreement. It's also not rigid, and it's not a final decision on the priorities. Town staff, together with a recommended implementation committee, still can retain final discretion in terms of the implementing the plan. And we've defined consensus pragmatically. It's that the community can collectively live with a direction, generally speaking, to move forward together. Here's a snippet from the vision that emerged in the plan. By 2035, Swampscott will be a thriving, resilient, and inclusive coastal community, offering diverse, affordable, and climate-ready housing with vibrant, walkable hubs, guided by transparent, collaborative governance. Every word is intentional, and it comes directly from the community input that we heard throughout the process. And this is the North Star that guides everything, and this is just a snippet of your actual full vision statement in the plan report. There were 4 major themes that emerged consistently throughout the engagement, community engagement, and the input phase. On housing, residents told us that the median home values and rents are outpacing income growth, creating cost burdens for working families and limiting housing diversity. On infrastructure, aging systems require replacement or major rehabilitation. 2/3 of the public facilities strategies that emerged were designated as high priority in the plan, and that signals real urgency. On climate resilience, sea level rise, increased storm intensity, and flooding threaten infrastructure and property. And finally, on economic vitality, business districts face competition, and priorities include supporting small businesses, enhancing walkability, and diversifying the economic base. Notice the interconnections here, and that these challenges don't stand alone. They reinforce each other, which means that our solutions also need to be integrated as well. And now we'd like to show you how we've organized the plan to address some of these challenges. Here's how the plan is structured from vision to action. We start with that one shared vision statement. From there, we've identified 10 cross-cutting themes that apply across multiple topic areas, things like equity, sustainability, and resilience. Those themes organize and touch on the 8 specific planning topics or chapters in the plan, like topics like economic development, open space, transportation, and housing. And within those topics, we've identified 42 goals supported by 98 prioritized strategies, which break down into 155 specific actions. Each strategy is assigned to one of 3 priority tiers: high priority for the first 3 years, medium priority for the middle 4 years, and low priority for 2033 and beyond. The high priority strategies require action due to community consensus, regulatory deadlines, or infrastructure deficiencies. The medium priority strategies warrant sustained multi-year efforts, and the lower priority strategies support long-term implementation. Now, what you see on the slide right now is the structure of draft 1, but there's a transition that we want to talk about in terms of capacity realities for implementation. So the town team, planning staff team at the moment is conducting a capacity assessment pending some additional feedback. At the moment, the verdict is that in draft 1, 20 actions per year in the short term isn't realistic. And we are working on adjusting the approach with a forthcoming draft 1.5 in order to do that. In order to consolidate the strategies from 98 to 85 and consolidate the actions from 155 to 134. Now, more critically, we're redistributing across time as well. So the short-term strategies drop from 36 to 15, and the short-term actions drop from 61 to 25. This is being done in order to recalibrate the vision with the implementation, and it's being honest so that we can deliver visible wins while preparing for long-term transformation for the community and the town. So we've made 3 types of changes for the future draft 1.5. And each for a specific reason. First, consolidating for clarity, merging 21 actions to strengthen implementation. For example, Vision Zero and Safe Routes to School are now combined. Micro transit and EV charging are consolidated. Parking management and bike facilities planning are integrated. These weren't separate initiatives. They're naturally connected, but combining them will help make implementation more efficient moving forward for the town. Second, we also shifted for capacity some of the recommendations. Major initiatives that would require significant staff time or community process or funding are being moved to the midterm or the long-term horizon, and that includes an overall zoning recodification, peer redevelopment studies, municipal energy planning, as well as historic preservation staffing. These are still priorities. They're just not realistic for years 1 through 3 in the short term. And third, we're preserving as urgent some critical fix-it-first priorities remaining in the short term, such as Kings Beach water quality, rail trail completion, as well as ADA accessibility improvements, and financial stability planning. These stay as immediate priorities because they address urgent infrastructure deficiencies, or there was a clear community consensus on that. And that brings us to the trade-off discussion that we can have about these changes from draft 1 to draft 1.5. So this is what we're asking you to weigh in on tonight is on one side of the scale, the refined plan strengthens 3 things. It improves achievability by focusing staff on 8 to 10 actions per year instead of 20. It enhances credibility by attempting to reduce staff burnout risk and implementation burnout risk, and ensuring a few visible short-term wins, and also prioritizes stability by fixing some foundational infrastructure first. On the other side of the scale, the refined plan delays progress on some urgent community priorities that we heard, such as multimodal connectivity, major transit improvements shift to the midterm after 2029, On vibrant hubs, zoning updates for Vinnon Square and the rail station are paused for approximately 3 years to the midterm. And on climate change, some municipal energy goals are moved to the long term. The question we pose to you at the end of the presentation will be, have we struck the right balance between being realistic and also being ambitious with the vision? And that's a central question for you tonight, as well as your feedback as individuals during the future public comment period when we announce that, in order to address those concerns in the final draft later in the season. Now we'd like to show you what the plan commits to deliver in the near term. So despite the recalibration, the short-term action plan is substantial and it's also tangible. We're calling it the fix-it-first approach that can also build on the momentum through visible progress. 4 priorities define the near term: cleaner beaches, safer crosswalks, better sidewalks, and financial stability in order to establish foundational planning to be able to support any future growth. These aren't high-profile projects, but they're important and foundational improvements that residents might be able to see and feel and notice in their daily lives, and that could build public trust and demonstrate that there's more momentum to do some of the more ambitious recommendations in the plan in later years in the plan horizon. And now we'd like to show you where some of these efforts might be geographically focused in town. So good planning isn't just about what you do, but also where it occurs. So we've tried to translate the vision into some type of a clear spatial strategy. The plan identifies 4 types of areas, each with a different strategic approach: transformation, focus growth, and reimagine the key nodes like Vinnon Square and the rail station area; strengthen in order to fix deficiencies in critical infrastructure assets like Kings Beach and the Fisherman's Pier; enhance, improve existing assets and connectivity along corridors like Humphrey Street and the rail trail; and preserve, protect neighborhood character, key resources, and natural areas. We're hoping that this framework can help everyone understand what type of change is appropriate in different parts of town, and it can help manage expectations and focus resources strategically. Now, here's what it looks like slightly more specific. You can see some of the transformation nodes in purple at Vinnon Square and in the general rail station area. Strengthening priorities are marked in orange, such as at Kings Beach, Fisherman's Pier, and various neighborhood amenity improvements. Enhancement corridors are in the teal color along Humphrey Street and Rail Trail, and preservation areas are in green, including the town forests, conservation lands, and the Olmsted Historic District. The big picture is that the growth is focused into specific nodes for transformation and improvement around Vinnon Square and the generalized rail station area, places that have existing infrastructure, transit access, and commercial activity. This approach manages density concerns and preserves existing neighborhood character elsewhere. Also, the coastline generally is a priority area that blends infrastructure repairs with economic enhancements in order to reflect the balance between resilience needs and also tourism recreation goals. Now, we'd like to zoom out a little bit and just show you 3 consensus priorities that emerged most strongly in the plan and throughout the process. So the 3 critical areas that emerged with overwhelming community consensus touched on critical infrastructure and resilience, multimodal connectivity, and vibrant walkable hubs. So starting with the first one, fortify our infrastructure and resilience. Starting with infrastructure and resilience, this is about addressing the urgent issues first. The plan calls for addressing critical water quality and sewer failures affecting Kings Beach. It's not aspirational, it's about fixing those systems that are actively failing. Also, the need to fund seawalls and green stormwater infrastructure. As also a reflection and connection to your recently approved hazard mitigation plan for 2025-2030. Additionally, This priority also recognizes the need to create long-term funded plans for road and sidewalk maintenance that also integrate ADA standards and low-impact development principles. Too often, maintenance gets deferred year after year, so this plan calls for a little bit of a more systematic, predictable approach to foundational infrastructure. The second priority is on connectivity, expediting the rail trail completion, implementing complete streets, and Vision Zero principles town-wide, establishing safe connections at Vinnon Square and generally in the rail station area. And the final one on housing and hubs, focus revitalization at Vinnon Square, strengthen the Affordable Housing Trust, and encourage missing middle housing through zoning reform, such as for options like duplexes and triplexes. So one of the most important findings from the process is that there's no challenge stands alone. We identified 10 interconnected themes that touched on those 8 topics, showing how a lot of the goals reinforced each other. And with this integrated approach, it ensures that our actions have multiple benefits. For example, expanding diverse housing options can also help to support economic development goals by attracting and retaining workers and residents. And with that, we've tried to show that some of these strategies to deliver multiple benefits simultaneously for the town. And transitioning to implementation, these plans don't implement themselves, so we'll talk about that in the next slide. So this is the number one recommendation that we're carrying forward from your prior master plan for 2016-2025 master plan that we've updated through this process, and that is to establish a master plan implementation committee. This would be a joint volunteer and municipal body that would be in charge of championing the plan, tracking progress, and keeping priorities moving forward. Critically, the town staff working with the implementation committee still retain final discretion on which recommendations to pursue, and not everything in the plan is possible to get done. So that's a reality. So it's the implementation committee that will need to make some tough choices about what's the most compelling ideas in the plan, given available resources. The recommended committee's job wouldn't be to micromanage day-to-day governance. It would be to provide strategic oversight, ensure accountability, and also reassess priorities as circumstances change throughout. And you can think of it as being like the stewards of the long-term vision. So for our next steps, we have to determine when the public comment period will be once draft 1.5 is done with the recent comments that we got from town planning staff. And final draft 2 would follow for some subsequent potential planning board adoption in the spring or summer. And again, we just want to reiterate that as you think about the plan, that seriously consider that as first recommendation that we're recommending again and echoing from your prior master plan, which is establishing that implementation committee so that the goals don't sit on the shelf, but also there's more capacity to help planning staff and the town in general to be able to move forward with some of these ideas that we heard from the community. So this is basically it's a refined roadmap that integrates 18 months of community input that is trying to balance like a realistic assessment of that community consensus and ideas and visions that we heard with the reality of municipal capacity to be able to implement some of these ideas throughout the 10-year horizon. And draft 1.5, once it's available, we hope we'll be able to reflect those priority buckets that were readjusted, and your feedback tonight, and as well as future feedback during that public comment period. We want to hear what you think about the general master plan approach, and does this feel right, or should we adjust that balance further or differently? And with that, we'll leave it open for comments. Well, once we activate and determine when the public comment period is. We will ask everyone to please submit their comments, the public and all municipal bodies, through a structured comment form that will make it easier to be able to assess the input that we get from everyone. Once we activate it, we'll have it linked to that QR code and that URL link linked to your town webpage as well. And with that, I just want to thank everyone for participating, all the members of the advisory group. We have some present here tonight as well. And I thank you for your attention, and we can open up to comments.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carlos.
Thanks.
Really good.
That was a lot.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Yeah.
I guess one of the things that struck me as we looked at, sort of repositioning or, shifting priorities is I'm looking at areas where that may have been shifted where we already have momentum. And maybe, once we have momentum somewhere, it shouldn't necessarily be shifted. I think we should kind of put the pedal to the metal type of thing and continue with momentum. An example would be, Vinnon Square. And maybe, linked to that would be, we could kind of tie in some roadway infrastructure sort of thing. But that really, because we have the zoning in place for part of Vinnon Square and because there's so much work underway in terms of developing that portion into a more vibrant community, and there's housing to come and so on and so forth, that I wouldn't really want to see that shift so much. I'd want to look at, and that wasn't the only area. I mean, I'm looking at, Hadley School, the Hawthorne, there's other projects where we have momentum. And in terms of, assigning effort to other projects, I mean, I'd want to keep the effort. I wouldn't want to lose momentum where we already have it, put it that way.
I really agree with what you said, because that was the first reaction I had to a lot of this. Was it feels like, we're looking to tomorrow for this plan, like what's it going to look like 2035, 2026, et cetera. But a lot of the things that are referenced are things that we've made a ton of progress on in the last 12 to 18 months. I think we've rezoned almost every parcel in Vinnon Square within the last 4 years across 4 zoning bylaws. So I appreciate keeping momentum going and making the change. At the same time, I don't want to almost like close one eye and forget the last few years where we've done a lot of momentum building on sustaining things. For example, Hawthorne Hotel, Vinnon Square, the Hadley Hotel, Hawthorne parcel. Whereas I just want to have that in mind, because I think if someone were to read this master plan in 2 years, they'd be like, oh, nothing's happened in Vinnon Square. They didn't do anything in Vinnon Square. So I almost just want to wonder if there's a way to use recent history to inform some of those objectives so that we're not kind of ignoring some of the significant progress that's been made in the last couple of years. Anyway, that's my thought.
I agree.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wonder, and I'm curious the rest of the board's thought, is, and Carlos, I'm curious, curious your thoughts on this as well. What other towns have a master plan implementation committee? Because I like the idea of it, but I'm imagining like in 3 years, the master plan implementation committee coming and telling us we have to do this zoning thing because they're telling us we do, and that would make me quite uncomfortable.
Well, it's, there's a good example here. So, it was really hard to kind of keep up with, we did a lot in the last master plan. And I would, easily 80% of what we had recommended had been either completed or begun. And, but a lot of that I had to, me and other people had to keep track of, manually. Take, for example, the Open Space Committee, which I also chaired that when we first wrote, because we wrote our own open space plan. But after that committee was in place, they were this incredibly dedicated group, and they still are, but they wanted to be the Open Space and Recreation Plan Committee. And their goal is to advocate for all the, all the tenets of, preserving open space. But it was also, I mean, if you go to any one of those meetings, the first thing they do is pull up the air table that has everything, like a whole implementation chart listed. And they just sort of go through, like, where are we? And it's not okay, next week we're doing this. It's not that. It's just, it was very fluid, but they were really able to make progress on things, and there was a way to track it. So, and there was, there was some responsibility. You had, we all had a certain amount of, some people more than others. Like that, people would kind of, take ownership of a particular project and, would sort of advance it that way. So, that being said, I think having a committee to help with that fluid, let's keep it moving, what's happening with this, and also to just track the progress, because sometimes it's just subtle and things get done, but there is progress, and if there seems to be something where we've met a road jam, then maybe it is something we want to. Does this still make sense? But at any rate, I happen to think that if we don't have an implementation committee, it's just we're going to struggle with it again and not be able to, really have the kind of, really living document that we'd like to see. So that's my opinion. I think it's a much bigger plan. It'll be a little more challenging. I don't know whether you would even consider, Carlos, like, because there's so much overlap, but breaking up, the implementation committee, maybe it's, you have an implementation committee and then there are like sort of subcommittees under it that, maybe even 3, like that manage certain parts, just because it's big. Maybe that's not necessary. I'm just throwing it out there. But I'm very supportive of having an implementation committee.
Carlos, do you have a list of the items the actions that were moved from the initial period and then spread out over the midterm and long term?
So they were pretty detailed, but a lot of them were transportation related, because there were a lot of numerous very granular transportation recommendations and strategies. So a good chunk of them are transportation consolidation.
Right.
So
there
was some consolidation involved, and then there was some reassessing or putting in different buckets.
Okay.
But I would say many were.
Can you define transportation consolidation? What are you referencing?
Yeah. So there was, we mentioned the EV, like the EV. Let's see here. I think I tried to paint a high level picture of it, but we talked a little bit about, let's see here. Right here, consolidating for clarity, the Vision Zero and the safe routes to school. So the multimodal safety and pedestrian safety improvements, that sort of thing, micro transit recommendations, as well as EV charging recommendations.
And what is micro transit exactly?
E-bikes.
Micro transit's the last mile. It's like a shuttle van that circulates the town and does the last mile connections between your existing commuter rail into the neighborhoods. It's some communities have like a senior shuttle, except this would be expanded for the general public.
Okay.
There had been in the past an idea of potentially connecting with the Salem Skipper or building upon having some type of a pilot plan. So that kind of generally touches on that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's great work. I think you've done a, tremendous job kind of putting all, I know it's very difficult working from an existing plan. And what we asked you to do was hard. I mean, typically the way I know, was preferable to go about master planning is to just start from scratch. And Elena she really enlightened me as to how that would have been a much better route to take. However, we felt that we had such a, great solid base, but I think you've done a great job taking that basis, but making it completely fresh and relevant to, it's a different decade, different community, different priorities, and I really appreciate the work you've done.
Thank you. Yeah, I think together, everyone who's participated, we started with the jumping off point of your prior plan and kept what made sense and also folded in a lot of new ideas as well.
Yeah,
So I
right.
feel like
Just made it more relevant to, that's very good.
What's the comment period, Carlos?
we have to, we have like a little delay. We have to fold in some of those
Sure.
changes right now. So in order to make those regroupings and consolidations happen between draft 1 to draft 1.5. So we anticipate those changes sometime in mid to late March. And so the comment period would start thereafter. So in all likelihood, either late March or in overlapping into April.
Got it.
Okay.
I think once that comes out, I think we'll probably all have more verbose commentary and feedback to provide to you.
Yeah, and you're reacting to an executive summary. So once you actually go through the document, it'll be different.
Yep.
And we tried to put together this comment form to make it easier for us to receive the comment. We discussed this with a lot of people at MAPC and also with some advisory group members about how it would make more sense to be able to create a comment form on different topics and on just make it more structured in order for us to be able to convey what feedback we get from you and other members of the general public through that comment period, and then so that we can be able to address the changes and the requests that are made, and also convey how it was received.
So what's the end point? Town meeting at some point?
I think we jointly approve this with the select board, and then it goes to town meeting
Right.
for a vote, right?
Yeah.
So are we targeting?
Carlos, you sent us a timeline, and I totally can't recall it. Could you just go over the timeline for when we meet with the select board to when we're proposing this be approved?
So we have to discuss with the town, but I think you have some flexibility deciding those aspects. Where MAPC is going to bring it to just make all of these changes after the comment period and reflect that in draft 2, and then you can decide at your own pace when it makes sense to bring it forward.
So I think that would depend on when the select board is comfortable with.
Yeah. So I guess I'm just
we're all
like a general, is it this fall, next spring?
I think it feasibly could be as soon as this spring.
Yeah. Carlos, I apologize for this question going in because it might be getting a little bit deep into the weeds. When I'm looking at that preserving is urgent, the 4 bullet points seem very sound to me. But the one thing that keeps popping in my head is town meeting's decision to buy the Hawthorne by the Sea. Where is that sitting in the priorities? Because I think when we're talking about something that is very visible, I think that is one that a decision was made by the town, and if we fumble it, it will really impact the faith that the residents have in the town itself.
I don't know the answer off the top of my head because there was a lot. There's 155 actions. It's the leveraging of public properties is definitely mentioned in here, but I don't know off the top. This isn't necessarily like an immediate planning context for development review right now, but it is mentioned. I just don't know off the top of my head where that precisely landed.
Yeah, because it seems like how those types of assets that right now are liabilities are being managed, I think is, in my opinion, pretty urgent. And the fact that it's not here is a little disconcerting. But as I will say, I think the things that are here are of incredible importance.
I think we're all resolved by that.
I think that landed in the midterm there's a reuse advisory committee working with the planning board and the select board, and
Advisory committee's been
I believe it was
expanded.
Categorized under the midterm.
Right. The advisory committee wrapped up their duties and they presented a report to the select board this fall.
Dissolved at this point.
Yeah, and that's just one point. I'm really afraid of how people might react with that not being a really significant
Yeah,
part
I
of
think
the
there's
master
some,
plan.
comments that we could probably make now that, we're just shooting you an email and kind of bringing up some stuff that
Yeah.
might be really helpful.
But Jerry, I had that mentality, but at the same time, I hope, and I don't want to, wishing would make it so. I really hope that conversation is resolved around the time this gets approved, because if not, we've got other issues that we got to resolve. And that's kind of totally outside of this committee's direct responsibility, but.
No, but as a town, I think we need to take a leadership role in seeing
Absolutely.
how that's moving. And I will point to number 2 and number 1 on this urgent list. And I think that anyone in your position would have said the same thing a decade ago about those 2 projects.
Yep. Well, let's hope it doesn't
yeah.
add a third to that list.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a lot of, in terms of, Kings Beach, that's a 200-year-old problem.
Yeah, that's
So,
an ancient project.
It's just, they're doing the best they can, so it'll always be urgent. The rail trail completion, I think that's, we're stymied by National Grid and MassDOT in terms of getting that bridge over Paradise Road, and that's kind of, I think they're trying to do other pieces of it bit by bit. We
I
do
was
have.
going to say, I thought there was funding in.
There is funding.
Next year
But there is
that
a
was gonna be
connection
released.
aspect that's been really tough that Marcy's been diligently trying to go through, and she meets monthly with the Board of the Boston Trail Group.
Yep.
And
But
updates them on that.
I'll be
So-
honest, that I'll use that as an example. The rail trail completion, the impact and the visibility
Yeah.
and the
huge.
expense, we have already entered an expense on the Hawthorne. And that's why.
No,
you know,
agreed,
it-
agreed.
It is a case where I think these are great and they're going to be important, but I would like to see.
I agree with you.
A conversation.
Yeah. And again, it goes back to stuff that we've, not only does that have a, huge financial impact, but it also has, an urgency. I mean, we do have, those RFPs out. I don't know what's going on with that, so I guess we'll.
To that point, also, it has a massive planning impact on the entire Humphrey Street
Right.
neighborhood,
Yeah.
which we have
Right.
kind of made a priority of this board since
Yeah.
before I was on it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that, submitting some comments, even, like I said, by email just directly to
Yeah.
Carlos is helpful.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to excuse myself. I've got to get home.
Yeah, thanks,
I
Angela.
don't have coverage anymore. I thank you so much, Carlos. I think you did a great job, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
was,
thanks,
was really informative.
Appreciate
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity, and we'll be in touch.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Carlos.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I am not far behind Angela, but I did want to make it for what I could hear, so I apologize for not being here for, well, I was conflicted out of almost everything tonight anyway, but.
And she had to leave at 9:30, so I have to
Good.
go.
So-
However, can I just say before I rudely tear out of this meeting, that I'm 100% in support of the administrative review, and I've read through it, and I would absolutely vote to, as, an individual, I would, as a board member, I'd vote to adopt it.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for your work on that. I think it looks really good. And I like Marblehead's wording too, and so I apologize, I'm back to.
All good.
Yeah, no, thanks, Angela.
See you later.
Good night, Angela.
Yeah, so on the admin review process,
Yep, I will keep it extremely brief. I put all of this together for you all, just going over administrative review for minor site plan changes, why this would be beneficial. It's basically putting into our zoning bylaw a way to approve administratively minor changes. So it's a process of improvement. So, for example, today we had 450 Paradise Road come before you for some changes to the site plan. This would allow for that review to come before the board administratively, so it would still come before you, but it wouldn't require a public hearing and the public notification. It would just be placed onto the agenda for your review.
Can I ask a quick question? What would trip it to the next level?
So, yes. So basically, building footprint changes of 10% or less. Minor site layout or circulation adjustments would be eligible for administrative review. Technical revisions, but no change in use or intensity, and it would be at the planning board's discretion. So things that wouldn't be eligible would be new uses, any zoning relief like setbacks or height or parking relief or variances like that. Any increases in density or intensity wouldn't be administrative. Any changes that affect abutters or public safety, or anything that requires special permit or variance. So it's basically something that would be allowed, and that is not far off from what is already approved.
Quick question on the building square footage, the 10%. Like if we think about the project today, a 10%, the Paradise Road, a 10% would be huge. That's a huge change.
Mhm.
So that's that's the only one of all of these seem fine. That one sort of jumped at me because even on a 1,000 square foot house, 10% is a chunk.
And again, it would be at the planning board's discretion. So if it is a very large change because of that 10% on a large building, then you would be able to make the decision that it could still be a public hearing if it's a very large, significant change.
I have a question,
Yes.
sort of sideways to that. So it comes to the planning board for administrative review. What does that look like? We talk about it, and then you go off and do the change, I assume.
Right. It would be very similar to what happened today. It would be eliminating the public hearing part of the process, because that would make the process go a little smoother and more easily.
One of the reasons that we talked about this with Angela and I have with Krista for a few months now. Everything that happens tonight with the Vinton Square would have happened exactly as it happened tonight. The only difference would be from an administrative perspective, the town would be saving $500 to $1,000. Applicants would be saving the same.
Yeah.
And
I'm on board with that.
Yeah, we had to go
notification on a butter.
We had to go through the process and notify all the abutters again.
I'm on board with that. My question is, what happens if we say no? Does it then go to?
Yeah, it would just,
So
it would go through the public hearing process.
So it's only an ability for us to pre-approve something that we think is going to be good.
It's only for amending a site plan that's already been approved.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
But if, for example, we said no to something in Vinton Square.
Right.
Then it would come through the full process.
Yes.
Right, you would make a determination that the changes are too great to be approved administratively and that it should go through the public hearing process.
Right.
And did we have like KP Law or anyone take a look just to make sure that?
They haven't taken a look yet. We wanted to bring it in front of you guys.
I have had conversations with Robin over there about this in the past. This is something that several towns have. Salem, Marblehead, Linfield, Hunt, I want to say. A lot of towns have it.
Yeah.
She'll work through the language.
Okay.
Obviously,
Yeah, I mean,
before we
like
get
to
too far.
Drew's point, I kind of just want to make sure that like the criteria are not going to like trip us up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Right, and
I'm on board conceptually.
I did include some of the examples later in the presentation. I had them for this slideshow, but for your reference, it goes through some of what the surrounding towns do.
Yep.
I think the real crux of this is this happened, tonight with Vinton Square, but over the last year, there's been like 3 people who have come before us for an amendment to an existing site plan that were so minimal that it's a waste of their time, a waste of Chris's and their office time to do all the stamps and everything. So it's like, let's figure out a way to respect the neighbors, but also respect a minimal change that should cost somebody $1,000 to change a door or something.
Yeah.
Right. So I did draft some draft language that are in your packets that you can take a look at and let me know if you have any changes or any thoughts. Something to note is a lot of other municipalities that do this, they specifically define like minor site plan and major site plan, like in their definitions. The way that this is written, it's really more of the eligibility criteria. So it's something, you can do it one way or the other, but it's something to take a look at if you think that it would be better with a definition for like a minor site plan or a major site plan. That's something we can do as well. So it's something to consider.
Yeah, that's a good point, especially if a lot of other towns are doing it, just to like, have us all playing on the same.
I will say no two towns do this the same way. It varies greatly. So it's really, knowing what comes before you all, what is the most realistic, most efficient way that is, has legal standing that we could add to do this process that makes sense for you guys.
So is there a fee for the expedited review?
Yeah, there would be an administrative
Same fee?
potentially.
I can't imagine, well, I shouldn't answer that. I can't imagine it would be the same as the fee to do a non.
But we don't set fees anyway, right?
I believe that's all.
Right. Yeah, we would do that in our office. We would set whatever the fee is.
But the goal is to try and avoid them having to pay us extensive fee, of which a lot of that fee goes to cover postage for the abutter notifications and everything.
Yeah.
So if we're skipping that, I would assume that
Yeah,
we wouldn't be charging the same.
the notice fees would be removed. So.
Okay.
Right, so take a look, take it home with you. Please, I know I didn't send this draft out with all of the materials I sent out today, but I will send it to you all so that you have like a Word version or that type of version that you want to write comments directly in it. I will send that out to you all.
I think it would be great if you could send that, and then by the time we have the next meeting, maybe even before, if we get comments back to Krista.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think this is kind of priority that I'd like to get this before town meeting this year.
Yeah.
I hate clogging up our agendas with stuff like.
Yeah.
So.
It should be fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then,
I think that's definitely doable. So I'll send out the Word version to you all and ask for comments back in like 2 weeks.
Okay, great.
All right.
Thanks, Krista. Okay, other business not reasonably anticipated by the board. I just had two things here. You don't really have to spend too much time talking about it, but do we need to find a time to just connect on that joint meeting with Marblehead on the Glover project that we talked about last time?
We are, yes, but I am meeting with the chairman of the planning board in Marblehead first to kind of figure out the appetite of their board, because they are going through their 3A changes, which will likely affect the parcel that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So they've got a whole process with that, given the state's involvement.
Yeah.
So trying to be respectful of that. So yes, but no logistics yet.
Okay. And then my only other thing was, I know we talked about the signage bylaw last time.
Still a priority. So it was kind of busy this month, but I will, we do have the warrant for town meeting coming up, so I can get something before you guys for that to see.
I know that
see if it's
Angela
ripe.
and I have not found the time to do it. Every time that we have the time, it's not the time that you want to be standing outside.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like we've hit it a couple times. So she and I did a quick check in on that.
There is some pretty ready language already that's been thought over that Angela has sent me, so I will make sure to send that out to you all for review by next meeting, in that way that we can get it on the warrant if it seems ready and everyone's on board.
Okay.
And I think there would be some discussion and debate on this. I know that.
Yeah.
I think even between Angela and I, because she's made a couple of references to the blade signs, and
The what
there's
signs?
really blade signs are signs that stick out from buildings instead of on the front. And Humphrey Street is actually a street that blade signs make sense because of
They're pedestrian scale signs.
Yeah, that's
We're talking about,
another
like-
term, but some of it has to do with
Like barber pole type signs, or?
well, barber pole, like
Or like the
G
coffee-
has,
G has
G
one.
has
one.
a circular one that sticks out.
Got it,
But
okay.
Like the
Humphrey
dentist office
Street
with the
is a
tooth.
very strange commercial street in the sense that it's curved and everything is on the curve, so your line of sight is constantly interrupted.
Sure.
So the way, like applying signage flat on buildings, there's some logic in having a more pedestrian friendly and visible. So I think our site visit and documentation of that and maybe guidelines as to how we do it. It's not the thing to eliminate.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. I'd like to make sure that we all have a chance to just review and talk.
Yeah.
So.
My recollection of the language is it's rather extensive. I think, Bill, we were on the board a few years ago when we last talked about it, and it was multiple pages of new language. So it'll.
Signage?
Yeah, I think we did it like 2021 or 22.
So we did awnings.
Yes, we did it, and the select board did not put it on the warrant, so it did not get all the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was extensive, so my point of bringing that up is, it's a lot to get to.
Yeah, okay. It's very complicated, and,
Yeah.
you know, things changed a lot since then.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean.
But it's an extensive topic.
And-
Everybody, it touches everybody in town.
I think one of the questions, there's a lack of design review in the town. And there tends to be a feeling that we somehow want to be a town that looks a certain way, but we don't want to have design review. Those two things cannot coexist.
Sure, right.
And so one of the things that, you know, we need to figure out where it sits, but it really needs to sit somewhere because it's a constant struggle, and there's struggles with it from historic district. There's struggles, like, we see this action of do and ask permission, or forgiveness instead of permission, and we really struggle with it as a town. So getting policies that are up and people that are accountable so things don't go up and they're like, well, I follow, you know, it's why the first attempt at this failed so badly in Humphrey Street.
Yeah, we need to designate someone to actually be the person who administratively reviews the sign permits when they come in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you want to recirculate the language that you have just for preliminary reactions?
Yep, I will recirculate what I have. I will also just take a look at it because I haven't extensively reviewed it yet. So I won't change anything, but I might submit some of my thoughts with it to get your opinions.
Great. Anybody have anything else?
Yeah, I am still working on encouraging the potential applicants for the General Glover farmhouse to come before the planning board for a pre-application meeting, as is encouraged in the zoning bylaw. But no timeline on that. Have not heard back from them on that at all, but just wanted to keep the board aware.
Thanks. It'll be 9 months.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All right, thanks for.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.